Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Forgive the title. I didn't put my glasses on. They were dirty. I was cleaning them, and I put the wrong title in there. So the title wasn't really coherent before, but now it says what it meant to say, which is, are FBAs having a renaissance? Are people from other countries, Africa and the Caribbean and Latin America, involved? Um, should they be involved? I need to fix my glasses. Lord God.
Said, are they being
Are they being
involved?
involved? Should they? I said, Wani, I went and got the wrong title again. Wow. Okay, are FBAs having a renaissance? Should people from Africa and the Caribbean be involved?
Yes, that's
That's
it.
it. That's it.
Got it
Before
right.
I do anything else, y'all hold for 1 second. Let me get my clean glasses. Hold on. Bam, got them. I'm ready. uh, I was in a space a moment ago and got slightly triggered. Mikhail, I was in that space with you, and I kind of had to defend you for a minute when you left. Like you were just, they kind of pounced on you when you were right, Mikhail. You were actually right with what you said. Like, be careful with these narratives. But we got an interesting space today because I do believe that we're having a renaissance. This is a very important space. Um, and I wanted to identify um, what does a Renaissance mean? What does that mean? And I want to answer the question and say that Africans, Caribbeans, and Hispaniolas should not be involved in our Renaissance. And there's a distinct reason why they shouldn't be involved. We're going to look to Chancellor Williams to explain why I think that outsiders shouldn't be involved. Um, According to Chancellor Williams, talks about the fall of Egypt, one of our greatest societies, or Kemet. How did it fall? And it fell from inviting insiders. Inviting outsiders to the culture. So, if you look, we're going to call it Egypt just for the sake of identifying. And I know the name was never Egypt. That's warfare, but we're just going to roll with it. So when you look at Egypt, quote unquote, Egypt was naturally protected by geography. It was surrounded by waterfalls. They call them cataracts. It was damn near impossible to attack Egypt because of the geography. You would have to literally climb a waterfall with horses and weaponry, and then attack the main land from that position, which is just idiotic. That's not going to happen. Well, what ended up happening is the fourth cataract, the fourth area of protection, was compromised. Why was it compromised? It was compromised because the leadership of Egypt um, allowed Asian men. Now, Dr. Chancellor Williams says Asian, but our sister Wani Spots has identified that that was a term used back in the day. Never forget, ladies. I'm gonna say young people, but y'all are my age. But never forget that warfare starts with words. Again, warfare starts with words. So, Asian, the Western Asian kind of morphed into Arab. So we're talking about Arabs. But according to Dr. Chancellor Williams, Western Asian men came to Kemet to do, or Egypt to do work. After reading Chancellor Williams' book again, I'm wondering, was that was intentional in the first place? Because Dr. Chancellor Williams says that they were very cunning. Uh, uh, a very cunning group of people. So I think that was part of the plan. I can't really prove it, but let me give you some textual evidence to kind of support that. According to Dr. Chancellor Williams, the quote, the blacks were pushed at the bottom. We're talking about in Egypt and in Ethiopia. The blacks were pushed to the bottom of the social, economic, and political ladder whenever and wherever the Asians and their mulatto offspring gained control. Critical. Dr. Williams further says the scheme of weakening the blacks by turning their half-white brothers against them cannot be overemphasized, because in the early times, and it had became the universal practice of whites, and is still one of the cornerstones of the edifice of white power. White Asians were generally very proud of their sons by black women, but these black mothers remained slaves while their mulatto sons and daughters were born free, moreover classified as whites. And as such, they formed a social class while never recognized as equal with the real whites, just about all the other privileges of free men. So basically, the he calls them white Asians, but Wani, it's fair for me to call those white Asians Arab, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna call them Arabs because that's confusing as hell. White Asian, those Arabs intentionally got these black women, these Egyptian women, pregnant, and then they put their women in bondage. What they were doing was training their kids that black is not worthy. Black is supposed to be a slave. So, long story short, in about 200 years, the fourth cataract in Egypt fell because those mulatto mixed half Arab, half white Asian, to quote Chancellor William, children had a fucking civil war in Egypt because they didn't identify with black. I'm not black. I'm not black. I'm this. I'm Asian. I'm whatever they said. And through that weakness, Egypt was now accessible. Just like a body that's been compromised by the flu, now opportunistic infection hits you. That's the same shit that happened to us. So, how does that deal with our title? It has everything to do with our title. Because just like those white Asians, or to quote on Dr. Wani Spots, the Arabs um, infiltrated the system and destroyed a strong defensive point in Egypt. If we allow Africans and Caribbeans to come in our movement, what do y'all think is going to happen? So let's go back to the beginning of the title. Are FBAs having a renaissance? What do you think about that, Wani? Are we?
Yes, we are. It's very dramatic as well. Now, I was going to ask you a question. What area were these so-called Asians, white Asians, located? So I can make sure we're speaking about the right people.
Okay, so Dr. Chancellor Williams points out to he shows across the Red Sea. It's an area called Arabia.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, that's them. That's
okay,
Arabs.
south of Palestine.
Yeah, that's them. I just wanted to make sure they weren't coming from Central Asia, because then they could be Turkic or something.
And I'm gonna put a Chancellor has a map in here that does justice better than me talking to show you exactly how it happened. Because this area, I would damn near say this area kind of looks like what is modern day Israel, which is odd if you think about it. But these white Asians infiltrated from this area. Uh,
And they were in the Persian Gulf, you said?
I'm gonna show you the
Oh,
Persian Gulf is,
oh no, you said the Red Sea.
yeah, Red Sea, across from the Red Sea. So to give you and this is an old map. It has a kingdom of Aksum, and north of Aksum is something called Aswan. So, Mikhail, what is
Yeah.
Aksum? Modern day Aksum, you know? I'm gonna put a picture of it in there.
Sudan. I was gonna say
Right.
Sudan.
It's actually Axum.
Aksum.
That's
Okay.
yeah, that's Ethiopia, Eritrea, Tigray area.
Okay. I'm gonna put the map in the jumbotron because
And that's relatively new in compared to uh, real ancient history. So Axum is roughly 300, 200 BCE.
interesting. Yeah. Appreciate it,
And
Mikhail.
Professor Alan, I'm pretty sure they're up the Nile River. Some of the earlier pyramids before even the Giza and stuff is supposed to be Aksum pyramids.
I'm not really okay. I'm doing some research on that. I don't want to profess like I know a whole bunch about that time period.
Well, he's kind of correct actually. Wani, I've shown you the pyramids that the Ethiopians themselves did not know until I pointed it out. So Brother Cash is correct on that.
What about those rock cut churches? They don't speak about them enough.
Lalibela.
Yeah.
Lalibela, Lalibela.
They don't
That's
even know how
relatively.
they made. That's another thing. They don't know how they made those.
Yeah, that's relatively new as well. But yeah,
You said they could be
there,
aged, that they could be much older.
yeah, but still in the span of time that those, I've seen, those, those churches. That's essentially what they are, underground monasteries. And it's relatively new, the architecture, compared to the architecture that have come before. But there are pyramids here in Ethiopia, mounds that's exactly like the three pyramid of Giza. That
So
was
how come they're not making these rock hewn churches anymore?
Good question.
Is it
because
aliens left? Aliens
no,
left? Mm, mm,
because
mm.
because
Anybody want to fight?
because Africa has been technophobic. They replaced religion, or they replaced technology with religion. That's why they stopped building and stopped leading in terms of architecture, design, and technology and innovation. You know,
Hey, Cash.
Yeah, peace, y'all. What's up, Professor Nikki or Wani or hey, so the chat, hey, are FBAs having a renaissance? I was trying to look up I asked Chat GPT, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like having a conversation with yourself. It says, what are signs of a culture having a renaissance? Flourishing arts and creativity, intellectual awakening, technological and scientific advancement, cultural exchange, political and economic growth, social reforms, a return to classical and foundational ideals. I'm looking at just the people who are in this room. There's people below who have profile pictures of the Black American heritage flag, people who are rocking the Juneteenth flag, and even the American flag using the Kendrick symbolism. Just the American flag is one thing, but using the Kendrick symbolism, I think, has another layer to it. And short answer is I believe we are. I believe that it's not just because of the internet, it's because of a love of self and of community and an interest in seeing us thrive. So, yeah, something similar to the Harlem Renaissance, I think, is happening in modern day right now. So, shout out to y'all.
Yeah, yeah, and before there also, if you look at history, if we look back at history at times when uh, equatable Renaissance were occurring. For instance, if you look back at 1903, when foundational Black Americans were forming groups. Um, these groups were co-opted by outsiders, by traders. Now, W. E. Du Bois was foundational Black American, as far as I know, but he was working unfortunately, I love my fallen brother, but I have to tell the truth so my people can heal. W. Du Bois co-opted our movements and helped the dominant society form the NAACP to kind of, I guess the term is controlled opposition, to kind of take control of that movement. Guys, this is very fascinating. When you have a movement and it, just like a train, when it gains momentum, when it gains a certain amount of momentum, you ain't going to stop it. You understand me? The only thing you can do once a train gains a certain amount of momentum is to jump on it and redirect it. So I'm warning everybody, get your pen and paper out and write this down. We got momentum. We are fucking hauling ass. We made it to the fucking Super Bowl, mind you. So nobody's gonna. If somebody stands in front of this train, they're gonna explode like a goddamn grenade. They're gonna get hit so hard. So their only option to, and I'm the tactical thinker. So I'm one of the tactical thinkers. So trust my mind. In my mind, the only thing to do now with this FBA train moving at 150 miles an hour is to put a driver in it and derail it, send it a whole nother direction. Remember, that happened during the 60s with the civil rights movement. That train was hauling ass so hard that President Nixon got scared. And what they do, they sent in the feminists. Hey, black woman, it's not about civil rights. It's about women's rights. Y'all see how the train gets derailed? You see how it works? W. Du Bois derailed it. It's not about, yeah, you know what? We do need black organizations to lead the black. I got one for you. Don't worry about the real grassroots black organizations. Let me give you one with white leadership. You see what I'm saying? So I'm really curious, and somebody really remember what I say. When it gets attempts to get derailed, y'all gonna say, man, professor had it. But what I'm trying to say is beware of some vector is going to try to derail our train. Go ahead, Cash. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to mention as well that a part of our renaissance, I believe, is weaponizing social media to hold people accountable since we don't trust our criminal justice system, our criminal justice system. I mean, I don't have to belabor this room, but just examples are finding out the businesses of Karens, forcing body cams on police. In fact, I went to this American Black Film Festival in Miami, I think in 2019, where I heard Boots Riley speak. And he said that there was a revolution happening within the Black American community using media to tell our own stories. And he didn't mean filmmaking, he meant cell phones, like to get past footage on body cam that'll be released years later. We have
Wow.
cell phone footage and access to it right in hand, and that means that we can weaponize or protect ourselves by filming ourselves or at least a bit of an illusion of it. He just mentioned that, and it really made me sit back and think. The last thing I want to mention is cancel culture. I kind of alluded to it with the Karen thing, but really, it's cancel culture in my mind is something created by Black Americans in order to circumvent, like I said, our criminal justice system, and to hold people accountable for, using the N word, blackface, boycotting businesses, and sharing that amongst our community. So I just wanted to shout us out for those creations during our Renaissance.
Man, Cash, you are on it, man. You're very brilliant, young man. What Cash said is true. The dominant society really screwed itself with all this technology. It was brought to my attention, and nobody talks about this. But do y'all realize one of the now this is really deep. This is deep. If you think about what kind of really woke us up, that I would say the catalyst to really wake us up. It was, I would argue that it was the George Floyd event. And if you agree with me, how the fuck do we even know about it? We like Brother Cash Gaines just said, we know about the George Floyd event because of a 17-year-old girl and her iPhone. The police told his baby to stop filming over and over again. And she said, "No, I am not." And she sat there and filmed it. So Cash is right. Technology is equal in the playing field, and it's becoming a weapon to against this narrative. And it's just so a shame that the weapon is the truth. And given the fact the weapon is the truth, that's further evidence that we are on the right side of history. Now, earlier I was talking about very important, the second part of the um, title, which says, should Africans Africans and outsiders be involved with our Renaissance? And I said, hell no. And the reason why I said that is because um, like I said, the metaphor I used earlier, once the train gets up and running, it has too much momentum, you can't stop it. Your only option is to derail it. Now, I mentioned something about W. Du Bois, and I wanted to give some scholarship before we move on. So, according to Dr. Howard Zinn, quote, blacks began to organize a National African American Council formed in 1903. It was formed by black people. We had our own council. It was the NAAC. Y'all heard that? These folk done stole the whole, yeah, didn't know it, did you? The NAAC, formed by black men and women on a grassroots level in 1903. In 19, also we had the ERC, the Equal Rights Convention. I want to say it was a women, yeah, it was a women's group. The women, black women had their own group called the National Association of Colored Women, the NACW. Never heard of any of those, have you? You never, what'd you say, Wanted?
I had to sigh.
Isn't it a mess? Y'all never heard of it because W. Du Bois's ass was hired to go in and grab hold of the train and derail that motherfucker. And guess what? We happily allowed him to come in the train because he was brown. Come on, brother. Oh man, that's Dr. Du Bois. He cool. Let him have the train, people. So this right here, critically write it down. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend. That's what we gotta watch for. That train is fucking hauling that. Our train got a goddamn turbocharger on it with Kendrick Lamar.
Professor.
Hold on. Don't speak out of turn, man. Oh, you gotta wait, bro. Mikhail, what's on your mind?
Uh, well, continue to build, brother. Wait, I'm curious to hear where you go with this. I'm listening.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, hey, baby, how you doing? I was just saying, the end of my build is W. Du Bois. And if y'all, those of you who want to write it down, the grassroots. Just let me give it context. So, if this was during Reconstruction, uh, Ulysses S. Grant gave us opportunities and funding to rebuild. Booker T. Washington had industrial education. Greenwood was, these black Hollywood, black Wall Streets were popping up all over the country, and we were organizing. The organizations, if you want to write it down, was the NAAC. That was a National Afro American Council. What was it in 1903? What was it formed for? It was formed to protest lynching, peonage, that means redlining and all that, and discrimination and disenfranchisement. Imagine what would happen if the NAAC existed to this day. You know what I'm saying? The National Association of Colored Women was another one. Um, and the equal ERC, the Equal Rights Convention. We had our own organizations, but what I was saying, Brother Mikhail, is W. Du Bois was sent. Dr. Howard Zinn says W. Du Bois, teaching in Atlanta, Georgia in 1905, sent out a letter to Negro leaders. Y'all write this down, please, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the country, calling them to a conference just across the Canadian border from Buffalo near Niagara Falls. It was the start of the Niagara movement. So WB Du Bois's ass sent everybody a letter basically saying, don't worry about those organizations. You know, I got a degree from Harvard. I got a PhD from Harvard. Listen to me. And our people, this is our mistake. This is the key right here. Our people said, well, he looked like us, you know, that he went to Harvard. Well, maybe he know what he's talking about. Let the man give the man a chance. We need not give nobody a goddamn chance. Not no one individual. We need to keep it, in my opinion, and I don't know everything, but as a student of history, I would say we need to make group decisions. You know, this whole one Messiah thing is not working for us. But in conclusion, Mikhail, what ended up happening was a race riot. Get your hand out my pocket. You understand me? A race riot in Springfield, Illinois, prompted the formation of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1910. That's once W. Du Bois got all the black leaders um, on board. A mysterious race riot popped up. Was it orchestrated? I think so. And the NAACP was born, and Dr. Howard Zinn says whites dominated the leadership of the new organization. That shit was run by white people of a certain faith, if you know what I'm saying. And W. Du Bois was a leading officer. So all I'm saying in conclusion, and I'll shut my mouth, is we got to be real careful of now that we're up and running. If I was a tactician, I would be very, very, very careful about somebody infiltrating, even somebody who's FBA. You know what I'm saying? A Roland Martin or some shit saying, "Hey y'all, let's do this. Come on, I would be careful about derailing. We know what we're doing. We know we're delineating. We know what we want. We want reparations. If we want to look at history to avoid making the same mistake, do not keep your eyes on the prize, like Dr. King said, and don't let that get derailed. And on that, I land my plane.
Excellent. I understand, and you're absolutely right. Renaissance versus paradigm shift, um, both. And just to sort of segue from the conversation that we had in the other room, and I apologize.
Excuse me, what's the purpose of FBA?
I was a little irritated in that discussion. Can you hear me, brother professor?
Yes.
Okay. So technology in terms of Renaissance, we experienced something called the age of atomism, brother professor, and that's the ATOM as well as the ATUM. And as you know, the motto, man, know thyself, or as above, so below, as within, so without, centers around the idea of mastering fields like geology, chemistry, astronomy, metaphysics, mummification, et cetera, essentially to gain control over the atom, which makes up everything in the universe. And this is what we lost, the knowledge of that. By our abilities to understand the subatomic world, which of course we call the quantum world, we've reached this paradigm shift towards self-awareness and the understanding of creation and essentially laying the foundation for what we know now as infinite knowledge and rebirth, which of course led to our new Christian Kemet. So that was essentially a shift that took literally possibly 3 million years of, or 3 million year repository of knowledge to get to that point where we could engage in geology, mining, metallurgy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That paved the way for chemistry and physics, biology, astronomy, the mastery of nuclear transmutation, which was necessary for alchemy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we were technologists. We were using these sciences as a means towards our quest for what we would consider the elixirs of life. That was our highest level of achievement. Once that was taken from us, stolen from us, or once we gave it away, we went into this very dark period. And that created the surge of the albinoid types, the Khas, the so-called Neo-Syrians, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Arabs, and eventually the Western Europeans. So we weren't doing the woo-woo thing. We weren't spooked out. We were studying literally the workings of the atoms, the powers and laws and cycles of the orbitals, the planets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We want woo-woo. This was not esoteric stuff. And so in terms of a renaissance, that's where we should return to. The concept of atomism, which views the subatomic world sort of in a technocratic way, which will allow us to essentially nation build, which will give us this knowledge of sourceness, forceness, as well as consciousness that our engineers, our scientists, our artisans, our architects will be able to use to lead us towards a path of enlightenment, so to speak. That's the paradigm shift that we are given the opportunity to lead. It's bigger than the US, it's bigger than the world, it's bigger than the universe. This is a multiverse shift that is handed to us. This is a gift of destiny. But if we miss this opportunity, then we'll continue to be led by those who have taken things that they don't understand. And I always quote the great Stevie Wonder superstition: when you believe in things you don't understand, you suffer. We'll be talking this Anunnaki nonsense for another 1,000 years. You see, so we just have to realize that this subatomic divine technocracy is offered to us. It's up to us to lead the shift. And as nation builders, world builders, for 3 million years, we can do that. And I just wanted to sort of put that out there. And thank you, Brother Professor Wani and Nikki, for the opportunity to speak. Love you, family, and I will land and listen and learn.
Oh, man, Mikhail, man, I appreciate your esoteric knowledge coming straight from the continent. Before we move on to the next speaker, I wanted to really tell you guys to put on your listening ears, because today I came prepared to drop a bomb for y'all and really defend my stance that we should not include Africans in our movement. Let me say that again for your recording devices. We should capital bold NOT, include Africans in our movement. Why not? Well, We're going to Dr. John G. Jackson. I'm breaking out John Jackson on that ass one more time. Dr. John Jackson says, quote, the 15th and 16th centuries were both good and bad for Africa. The great nation states in Africa, especially in Western Africa, rose to their height and began to decline. Europe partly recovered from the trouble of the Middle Ages. Let me stop right there. So basically, John G. Jackson says West Africa was complicit in the fucking slave trade. Do you hear me? John Jackson says that what is now Nigeria, or Nigeria, however the fuck they say it, it was complicit in that slave trade. They benefited. Nigeria, it was called the Songhai. Some people say it's Shanghai. I don't really know how to say it. But the Songhai, it's spelled Songhai Empire, rose to a huge peak based on the transatlantic slave trade. Raise your hand if you knew that. If you knew they was balling for a split second based on the slave trade. Yep. That's what Dr. John Jackson says, but it backfired because of Europe. Like I said the other day, the West Africans didn't understand who they were dealing with. They weren't dealing with normal, reasonable human beings. They were dealing with a vicious group of people who, after they got their little taste of blood, they came in with the goddamn reinforcements and started taking everybody. So that was the cause of their sharp rise on West Africa and the Shanghai Empire, and it was the cause of their decline, which still has them crawling in the mud today. You understand me? So I'm gonna posit that given the fact that these group of people were responsible in our downturn in the first place, in our decline in the first place, that they don't get a chance. We should not give them a chance to be involved in our new renaissance. Last but not least, oh, you gonna say something, Money?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I got some good stuff for you today. Dr. John G. Jackson also says the story of the African slave trade is essential to the story of the consequences of the second rise of Europe. You heard that? The second rise of Europe was attributed to these damn African tribal chiefs engaging in the slave trade. Europe would have never rise. Now, when I say second rise, it rose once under the Roman Empire. Most people know that. But when the Romans fucked everything up and lost their shit and it declined back into the Dark Ages, African tribal chiefs helped them rise again. Now, I believe, and I was taught by Dr. John Henry Clark that not John Henry Clark, but maybe I read wrong, that it was a kind of like a ball and showing off type thing. Well, John Jackson says he says otherwise. He said these motherfuckers, these African tribal chiefs, knew exactly what they were doing, and they did get something out of it. They got a sharp rise of fame and fortune, which actually turned out to be their demise. John Jackson says between the passing of the Roman Empire in the 8th century and the partial unification of Europe through the framework of the Catholic Church, I'm gonna say it one more time: the Catholic Church. I'm gonna leave that alone. In the 15th century, Europeans were engaged mainly in the internal affairs within their own continent. But with the opening of the New World after the expulsion of the Moors from Spain during the later part of the 15th century, the Europeans started to expand their home beyond their homeland. They were searching for new markets, materials, new manpower, and land to exploit. The African slave trade was created to accommodate this new expansion. Without the African slave trade, without our ancestors being sold, the Europeans would have never had a second rise of power, and they wouldn't be running a goddamn thing right now. That's a fact. Put it on John G. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna stop right there before I ramble on. I can talk all day. Wanda, do you remember who was next?
I wanted to say that instead of one of the parts of the Renaissance that I noticed is less people are interested in pseudo history. And we don't have to have that anymore. Instead of making up the Pan African fairy tales about the
Thank
money
God.
laundering, we know our full genetic profiles. We know about our ancient lineages, or we can know about them if we, keep doing this information. We have our full genealogy paperwork, or can get it over time, and we know the scope of our legendary history, or can learn it. It's out there. It's far more interesting than the one-dimensional dashikis and kufis that we were sold, and the fake backstories about African culture, which does not exist. There's no such thing as African culture in quotation marks. They have a lot of different languages, tribes, countries, regions, and all kinds of things. And none of those things have anything to do with the culture that we've developed here. So that's a good part of the Renaissance. It's based in reality. It's not based on being we was kings or queens. It's based on the legendary things that we've done here in this country that are astronomical, that eclipse everyone has immigrated over to this country.
Right. Because in all honesty, we're a different group. We've reamalgamated. This is our point of origin. So it starts from our point of origin, which has absolutely shit to do with the Shanghai Empire. They sold us, remember? Um, I'm thinking it was Rob the Whip.
Yo, Professor, y'all just gotta take down whatever that troll posted up at the top as well.
Oh, okay, hold on, stand by.
Oh, I don't see it. What is it?
I don't see it either.
Oh yeah, I only see two posts up above, and the second post is the troll post.
Oh,
FBI gonna go down in history, that one?
Yes,
Oh wow.
that's incorrect and a troll post. He came up on
oh,
stage
that's
earlier trying to
good.
interrupt.
That was him?
Yeah, he tried to say,
Oh,
"What is the purpose of FBA?" And I had 30 seconds for him, but he ran.
he's,
I
oh,
messed with all three of
that
y'all.
was him. I see him on the timeline fussing with us.
I removed it. Appreciate it, Cash. Go ahead, Rob the Whip.
Am I up? First of all, good evening, everybody.
Oh,
How
doing
y'all
good,
feeling?
brother.
I just came and get my little 2 cents before I go to bed. But I read the message of the board, and I say, yeah. Are we having an awakening? Yes, we are. It's about time. Um, I spread the word to many people, my students' parents, as much as I can. Get everybody on code, bring everybody up to speed on what's going on in the community. And yeah, so it's about time that a new revolution gets started, man. We keep pushing the way we're going. As far as anybody else getting involved in our business, hell no. Nah. It's our business. I mean, and the more people that the more that we separate ourselves from all these other cultures, man, and work on ourselves, man, sky's the limit. Because again, we're the most innovative and creative race culture of people on this planet. Everybody watches what we do,
Right.
and we influence the world. So just keep pushing, y'all. I'm saying, don't give up.
Appreciate you, Rob the Whip. Before we go on, I think Dan Quay, and do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to talk, raise your hand. That helps me in selecting the right person. Because if you don't raise your hand, I might pick somebody ahead of you by accident, unintentionally. Well, so go ahead and raise your hand if you want to speak. But I wanted to, kind of drop a bomb on the stage from something that I heard our brother Tariq Nasheed say. Um, I heard and several people say that the Moors were actually bad guys. I kind of heard Bobby Hemmett hit on that years ago, and I was like, no, that can't be right. Sometimes Bobby just be kind of talking. But Bobby knew what he was talking about. I heard Brother Tariq say the Moors were kind of, and I'm paraphrasing our Brother Tariq, but he said the Moors were kind of, I think he said they were kind of oppish. Well, I was reading John Jackson's masterpiece today, and voila, check this out. According to Dr. John Jackson, quote, now West Africa entered a sad period of decline. Now, this is after they done sold us and had they little quick high, right? They were selling us and getting money, getting resources, and then the Europeans played the European game of psych. I'm not going to pay you anymore. Matter of fact, I'm going to come over there and steal you. So they went in, according to Dr. Johnson, a sad period of decline. Check this out. Quote, during the Moorish occupation, listen to what Dr. Johnson says. During the Moorish occupation, wreck and ruin became the order of the day. The Moors fucked up West Africa. Who knew that? Were the Moors ops? I got to do some more research. I think the Moors were some motherfucking ops.
They did a lot of things that were, overseers. I have a picture of them escorting little boys that are going to be sold as slaves. So I know that, I know what they're about. So we just, like I said before, when we didn't have the information of our background, we would latch on to these other African identities and say, hey, they look cool. They look like they're doing, some stuff. So we'll be Moors. That's not our lineage, though.
Nope.
Some people could possibly have a lineage, but that's just not the general lineage that we have, not from where they're from. But they were over here. They were doing things over here, and they were there. They got about, like um, Southern Europe, and they made a mark. A lot of places that they went, and they were used as pretty much to control, like buffer classes. So that's something that we've been learning.
Hmm. Well, I'm gonna step out on a ledge and I'm gonna charge it to John G. Jackson. Almost since John G. Jackson educated us on that, it may be it may be prudent to be a little cautious about involving the Moors in our Renaissance. But that's just
I was just going to add, read up on the Ascari Moors, Asakari.
hold on. You speaking our turn, bro. We going with hands. Go ahead and raise. If you want to speak, raise your hand, bro. I want to know what you got to say, but raise your hand. Go ahead, Cash Gaines.
I thought you said Dan Quay.
Oh, I'm sorry. He put his hand down. Keep your hands up. That helps me. Go ahead, Dan
Oh
Quay.
Lord, it's getting confusing.
It is.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Interesting space. My first question is, what exactly is the FBA Renaissance? I'm asking this question like honestly because I think this year is the 100-year anniversary for the New Negro Manifesto. I think I'll call
What's
it that.
that?
You don't know about the New Negro?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So I guess it was compiled or written by Alan Locke, and that had to do with the whole migration, the whole Harlem Renaissance,
Yeah, and
and all that.
excuse me for interrupting you right quick, Dan Quay, but Alan Locke, just to let y'all know before this go the wrong direction, Alan Locke was a goddamn op. But go ahead, Dan.
Okay, I mean there were many people involved in the Harlem Renaissance. I would be surprised if you were to say that all of them are ops. So, um, but you could tell me what you think about it and what makes him a op exactly. Maybe
Alan
explain it in
Locke.
short.
Alan, to answer your question, Alan Locke was involved with W. Du Bois. Need I say more? They were all in the same cohort at Harvard. W. Du Bois, Alan Locke, and I forgot the other guy's name, but I'll have it for you in a minute. Stand by. Go ahead and finish something,
Um,
Dan.
okay, what do you think about Langston Hughes then?
That will finish your point.
Yeah, like what do you guys think about it? Because it's been 100 years since then, and that's something that really galvanized the Black American identity back then, like 100 years ago, with the whole migration thing. So like it was like a cultural revolution in a sense, or
Did
renaissance, and
our
there was a lot
identity?
going on in terms
What do
of
you
art.
What do you mean
Excuse
about
me.
our identity? We had an
Yeah, like
identity before that.
so basically because Black Americans were moving from the South to like bigger
Mm-hmm.
cities, they
Yeah.
were going to these bigger cities with
What does
their
that have to
culture.
do with our identity?
It was the golden age of like jazz and stuff. So it became cool to be Black American specifically around that time. Like it became cool among the white people even to partake or to listen to jazz and stuff like that around that period
And
of
then why did
time.
they try to censor it and ban it and scream about it and call it every name under the book
Yeah.
while dancing at
Well,
the same time? I'm really
Preach.
tired of
I mean,
psychos.
anybody can like correct me if I'm wrong
Sister
about
Wani
anything.
and Professor, I don't think he understands white supremacy, because if he did, he would know the
Uh,
answer to that question, knowing white people play both sides of the fence. So just because
of
they
course
like
I know
something
that.
don't mean they like the motherfuckers that created the shit. Now, to my second point is, where are you from, sir?
Um, I'm from France and
He's
Ghana.
mixed.
I thought you were
He's
Ghanaian.
different
Well,
kind.
he said,
He's different kind of African,
ladies and
but
gentlemen,
he lives in.
he can't. I gotta really point something out, and no disrespect to Dan Quay because he's probably ignorant. He don't know, but I'm thinking. No, no, I'm not calling. I'm not. I'm really not being pejorative. I'm saying you don't. You've been brainwashed just like everybody else. He really.
About what?
I'm getting.
So,
Give me a minute. You came in there talking
yeah,
about Alan Locke. I almost threw up
mm-hmm.
in my mouth. Are you aware? Could you tell us who Cecil Rhodes was, Dan Quay? Was
Cecil Rhodes, the guy who Rhodesia was named
there?
after.
Was he an ally to to people of color?
Absolutely not.
Alan Locke was a goddamn Rhodes Scholar in 1907.
What exactly is a Rhodes Scholar?
Oh Lord.
It's an honest question.
It's
Like,
it is an organization that you get accepted to in college that allows you to go abroad to Cambridge and study and maybe get a master's degree.
a
And
scholarship.
yes, and
Okay.
the selectivity process, the people who get accepted for Rhodes scholarships are very questionable. Allegedly, let me say it again. Allegedly, Rhodes scholars are have been accused of being selected on their allegiance to the system of white supremacy, and there is
Mhm.
allegedly a lot of evidence to support that. Now, Alan Locke was a black. I'm talking about Bill Clinton for Christ. I mean, Alan Locke was a black man who got a Rhodes Scholarship in 1907. You mean to tell me
Okay,
somebody who was down for black or for the black movement got a Rhodes Scholarship in 1907?
no, I understand your skepticism, but like,
That's not
what did he
skepticism.
do?
That's facts.
Yeah, sure, but what did he actually do apart from getting that scholarship? What did he do that makes him a?
He took credit for a movement that he did not do. Zora Neale Hurston had more to do with the Harlem Renaissance than he did.
Oh,
He was the face installed by the system of white supremacy. And Dan, thank you so much because you proved my point about derailing a goddamn train. He derailed the train. Zora Neale Hurston deserved the credit for the Harlem Renaissance,
she
but she didn't get his.
she was in his book.
She
He
didn't.
just
She
compiled.
was in his book. He should have been in her goddamn book. You see how this works?
You do know that W.E.B. Du Bois, Alan Locke, Zora Neale Hurston, and other poets and stuff like that all kind of argued and dialogued all the time about black
They did,
issues.
brother, but they were placed there from a higher society that has more money than you and me can even
Not
think
all
about
of them
having.
though.
Hey,
Not all of
he
them.
can't comprehend it. And really, I like Dan, but I'm starting to get frustrated that a goddamn.
Yeah, he's not wired like us, Professor.
And
He don't know how to download
I,
those security
I
systems
don't
like
know
we do.
exactly what I'm saying.
Hey,
That's
if I
false.
may,
Hey,
you're
Professor.
number one. You're trying to school us on history that's not yours. You don't
I'm
have
not schooling anybody. I'm being
Awkward.
humble.
real
I'm
talk.
asking a question.
I'm not gonna
He's
come in here
being humble.
and tell
He's
you
the
about Ghana.
domesticated one, remember?
Oh
What'd
Lord.
you
He's
say?
domesticated. So
hey, Professor.
What the hell does
let's just
domesticated?
move on and come back to him later when we get
Actually,
No,
resources.
but nobody
real
answered my
quick.
question though. My
Hey,
question
Dan
About
Dan
what?
was,
Quay.
it's been 100 years since that movement. That movement
Hmm.
did achieved a lot for Black
Okay.
Americans.
Well, you know
D-
what?
do you
Okay.
guys
In its
want
time,
to
yeah.
mirror that with like a FBA renaissance of some kind?
This
Because
is a
that would
new
be
breed of black.
very
We learn from
interesting,
This is
and
history. We
I
different.
would
don't
back that
repeat
up
it. We
actually.
learn from history. We just don't repeat it. This is a new breed of black. Okay, brother. We just gonna do what we do, and we ain't gonna include none of the coons or the tethers.
There we go.
I'm glad you're here to get knowledge. You know that's good. So just sit back and listen. You're gonna understand some things. You're not
Hey,
wired
hey,
like us.
hey, real
These
quick,
defense mechanisms. Oh, go
real,
ahead, Cash, brother. Go
if I
ahead.
may, right? Hey, Dan Quay, did you watch the Super Bowl?
No, I don't watch
Okay, good,
football.
good. I would say you didn't watch it because of Colin Kaepernick. That means that you understand that Black Americans is fighting against the system of white supremacy and questioning police brutality. But if you had watched it, you would have
Mhm.
understood what Kendrick did as a form of protest in front of the world and those who did watch it. So it's either way. Either you watched it or you didn't watch it, and either way, it was for a reason because of the Black American Renaissance. I was hoping to bring the conversation back to modern day. I don't know why
Mhm.
we're talking about the Harlem Renaissance 100 years ago. There are things happening in modern day. Let me give you an example and tie the two together. Zora Neale Hurston was just mentioned, right? Just off the top of conversation. She said all skin folk and kinfolk, didn't she?
Preach,
Ain't that the same as they not like us?
preach.
Ain't that the same? Dan Quay, are you still at the mic?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm trying to tie a renaissance that we had 100 years ago to what we're doing now. If you'd have watched the Super Bowl, you'd understand why we believe that there's a renaissance happening. But I mentioned what Chat GPT was saying about renaissance within a community or a culture being tied to, understanding a cultural reform. I was talking about how Black Americans are rocking our own flag now, how we have the Juneteenth flag more prominent in conversation, and it just became a federal holiday. Yeah, I think there's a renaissance happening within our community.
Okay.
Well, and let me close on this because he brought up a really coming here throwing around Alan Locke, not really understanding what he was saying. Earlier on in the space, we talked about how when, with respect to foundational Black American history, when we start gaining momentum to gain liberation, and the train of liberation is moving so fast, too fast to speak metaphorically, that it can't be stopped. The system of white supremacy sends in an op to take control of the train and derail it. W. Du Bois, as I mentioned earlier, derailed our organization, our movements with the organization. What I wanted to point out is W. Du Bois and Alan Locke were from the same cohort. According to Smithsonian.com, Alan Locke excelled academically through his schooling. He graduated with honors from Harvard University in 1907 and became the first African American to be selected for the Rhodes Scholarship. Just like W. Du Bois was the first African American to get a PhD from Harvard. You see how this works? You see how deals are made? Hey, Negro, I'll make you the first if you do this for me. Now, my brother on W. Du Bois meant well. He thought he was going to make a deal with the devil to help us, but deals with the devil never work out. But I'm just pointing out that Dan Quay, as an immigrant, as an outsider, has been programmed to view our history through the lens of white supremacy. Although I don't think he means any harm. Coming in here and giving Alan Locke credit for the Harlem Renaissance, it actually insults me. Alan Locke had little to do with the Harlem Renaissance.
No.
All Alan Locke had was money and a Harvard degree. He was installed as leadership, just like W. Du Bois was installed as leadership over the NAA goddamn CP. Next speaker. Capone, what's on you? Oh, go
I
ahead,
just
one.
wanted to ask him, were you trying to tie the Harlem Renaissance in with what we're doing now, Dan?
Yeah,
Well,
essentially,
it doesn't
kind of
have
asking
anything to do with
if
it because
excuse me.
no, it has nothing to do with it. They don't even have the right mindset. They think that
Wait, who?
they're Harlem.
No, okay. What I mean is
They don't even have the right
the
mindset.
Harlem Renaissance had um an impact back then, 100 years ago. Do you
Yes,
feel
But
like
there
the
there
this
was
is
Renaissance
not,
they're
Renaissance all
trying to
over
this
at
start
is
that
not
time.
a,
currently
this is
is
not a
going to have as much of
continuation.
an impact?
This is not a
No, no.
continuation, and it's not, this is more of it's a different type of thing. Theirs was more like, um, artistic expressions and more external. We're having a external and an internal renaissance within our souls and our spirits. So it's different.
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
Mm, okay. I mean, I think okay, sure. I can
Do you
appreciate
have your
that.
pen and pad to take notes, my brother? Just take notes. Just take notes.
I
When
mean,
you got
yeah, I'm
questions, when you
here
got
to listen
questions,
to
yeah,
opinions. I'm growing
yeah, but
too.
Okay, okay. But anyways, let me
Well,
close
hold,
my
hold
little
on,
knot
hold on.
out.
I caught.
Professor, I would like to, oh, go ahead, brother. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I'm gonna let you go, man. But no, hold on. That's a little disrespectful. And nobody ain't talking about opinions. What if I said there was an opinion? I told you facts, and I'm gonna end on
No,
this.
no.
I'm
What?
not gonna. I'm not gonna come on your stage, Dan, and give you and criticize your opinions about Ghana because that's part of your home, and you know more about it than I do. I'm gonna respect that. Please give me that same respect. Sorry about that, Capone. Go ahead.
I
Can I
appreciate it,
clarify though?
Professor. Hush your, but get on your mic, please, sir. Fuck's sake.
Capone,
He's
what's up,
All right.
passive.
brother?
He's passive
Yeah, man. I'm
aggressive,
just saying. I'm
Dash.
trying to honor my scholars right now on Black History Month. Professor, Sister Wani, Sister Nikki. You know, honor my scholars on Black History Month. And one of the greatest drug dealers in the world, Bumpy Johnson. God rest that brother. You know, bless him highly. You know, in the system of white supremacy, foundational Black Americans, no matter where you from on this earth, we found a way to get it in. You know what I'm saying? We are against all odds. So, however a Black person decides to make a dollar, you are not wrong. Just to put that on your forehead. And then again, to this brother here, I don't know where you from, sir. I don't know where you at, you know, but we are not wired like you. We have a whole different system of thinking. And as far as this Renaissance go, yeah, this is a Renaissance. Yes, we're cleaning house. We don't want nobody here to undermine us, even if it's the coons in our lineage. We clearing out everything. If you are not involved in the progression, the culture, or the lineage, we don't want nothing to do with you.
Preach.
And I was in another space today. Another brother said the Israel people who to get their little benefits, they went on a cultural movement, a political movement, and a legal movement. And he was saying that he's doing it by himself because he know his lineage. I was thinking if we all hit him up like that on all fronts, like they like to do us, maybe we can get some more progress in. And I land on that. Well, hold on, Professor. Maybe since you was, you know, a con law scholar, you can look at that and see if we can hit them up on all fronts on our claims as individuals, and we go in as a group like the Jews did.
Hmm.
Now land.
Talk your talk, Capone.
I'm gonna look into it, brother.
Oh, House, what's up, brother? I didn't even see you. What's going on, my man?
Quiet. Let Professor do his thing.
Man, go ahead, Professor. Spotlight back on you.
Yes, sir. I'm next on the list. Wani got me taking the list now. Cash gains. I got you on the list.
I'm rocking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Rock it out, bro.
right. Uh, um, not to keep drawing the comparison, but I do feel like I am on a roll a little bit. Langston Hughes is featured in the post. I think it was by. Let me see. I think that post was by. Don't matter anyway. But Langston Hughes is superimposed over the picture of Kendrick Lamar in modern day, forming the American flag, and it's a Langston Hughes poem about uh, um, America, right? So you can, draw some similarities between them, the Renaissance at that time and the Renaissance of modern day. But I kind of feel like that could be Kendrick's quotes in modern day instead of Langston Hughes, and it would be just as powerful an image and probably just as powerful lyrics. See what I'm saying? There's also Joey Badass. There's a lot of different artists who have very important music of modern day that's kind of getting slept on because they're seen as performers and not as revolutionaries. But those moments do seep through in eye-catching ear to them in an eye, and can screenshot some of them that I'll share in the chat below.
Right on. If brother Cash landed his plane, we're gonna go to. Let's see. I got housing. Go ahead, housing.
I'm just basically, listening. Shout out to everyone. Wani, Nikki the God, Professor. And Professor, I like the way you came in defense with the brother Malik, Mikhail in that other space. I was there listening to you,
Yeah,
man.
man. You don't
I
attack.
was there.
You don't attack somebody when they not there. Like, come on now. And that dude has a bad habit of, stating, having real strong opinions. I know a lot, but I don't pretend like I know more than any of you.
Now, I wish Wani was on that space right there. She would have ate him up.
Right.
Why do
Yeah,
you
but
always
other
try to
other than
fight
that,
somebody?
I just called to give everybody a shout out, and I'm sitting back listening.
Oh, I'm happy to see you, brother. Glad you're here.
Thank you, brother.
So next on my list, it says no. I don't know what that says. No something now.
No cap.
That's no cap, sir.
Okay, go ahead, no cap.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Allen.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Sister Wani, Nikki the God. All of you beautiful people, I love you. And I say this seriously because you're fighting for me, for my children. So I'm fighting in turn the same way for you, for your children. Today I was at a school meeting. We do these Black parent, Black staff, Black student meetings periodically. And at this particular meeting for this particular district, they gave this big, long, illustrious presentation. And at the end of it, I couldn't help but think, who is this for? It's not for us. The colors are all wrong. They're not red, white, and blue like us. We fought in every American war, foreign and domestic. We deserve better. When it comes to our history and our inventions and our contributions to our country, we deserve more than just to be presented as generic Africans. We're not African American, we're Black Americans. And we have to be proud of that, or else we'll have our children confused and viewed as others and sidelined like they're immigrants, which they are not. So, yeah, I thank you guys for putting in the work. And yeah, I'm here to fire some shots too.
I appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you.
Um, you wanted to comment, Wani? If
No, I was just saying thank you.
okay, yeah, appreciate you, brother. Please come back. I'm gonna go ahead and get troll, but we're gonna let Blood Money up to see what he got to talk. Now, Blood Money had a lot to say to our brother Tariq about running away from somewhere, but he ran. I think he's in England. So,
Oh
but
Lord, not the lisp.
yeah. So how are the crumpets doing? Blood
Does he
Money.
have a list and beans on? Does he have that list? Anybody know before he starts talking? I need to be braced. Wait, don't come off the mic yet. Do you have a list? Just answer
Y'all,
that for me.
y'all broke and obsessed with Africa.
Oh my God, he's got it.
Oh Lord.
Bro, we love Africa. We just hate musty, crumpet, beans and toast eating motherfuckers like you. All right. We love people from the diaspora. We
How
we
did he
just
get
hate
back
the
to
undermining
Lisbon?
musty motherfuckers.
I didn't even get a
So what do
chance.
you got, Mike?
He
Man,
ran away. It was
I,
because of, did I insult him?
I didn't have a chance to
Yeah,
kick.
he smelled like
I came
old
in too
Franken
hot,
beans
didn't
and
I? Came
rotten
in too
bread.
hot.
So
I
you got
didn't
him.
time it right.
You scared him, right? You scared him, sister.
I didn't have a chance to kick him off. Somebody kicked him off before I did. Damn.
No, he did. He
No,
left.
he heard that devilish angel getting on his ass.
All right, next on the list, we're going to go with the new speaker, NPC. What's going on, NPC?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Not much, bro. What's up? What's on your mind?
Oh yeah, I was asking about have you guys considered having or no, why didn't John Henry Clark instead of having debates, why do you think that he did not like sue or start up a lawsuit for certain reasons against the United States of America?
Why would Dr. Clark sue the United States of America? On what grounds is
Based
what I'm asking.
on well, his whole entire synopsis was based on the United States offended his amendment rights.
Man, stop playing with me, man. Stop fucking around, man.
Oh, what's going on here? I hear a lot of
What are you
noise.
guys doing over there?
Oh, somebody was mute, got off. What were you saying?
Oh,
I said his whole synopsis was based on the United States offending his amendment rights.
I don't remember Dr. Clark. I know a lot about Clark and I read a lot of his books. I don't remember him talking about specific constitutional rights. So I'm not really
So,
familiar with what you're talking about.
okay, so you never seen any of Dr. John Henry Clark debates,
Yeah,
or you
and
never
I
heard of
seen
them?
I seen most of them, and I read most of his books. I don't remember him once talking about a constitutional amendment. In particular, he talked about injustice, but when you're talking about law, you need to be specific.
Specific. So you don't think anything that he debated was
Well. How about this, brother? If you're talking about something specific, tell me something specific. It's like you're trying to see if I know what you're talking about. And with all due respect, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Right, because you never listened to any of his debates.
No, no, I don't.
Everything he talked about from any of his debates was basically specifically
Everything he
suggesting.
talked about was not that doesn't even make sense to me, man. Like, look, if you're talking about a specific constitutional right that he asserted needed to be addressed, just go ahead and tell me the right. Why are you trying to play a game?
Because I'm asking you specifically, because I'm just asking about a person and I'm making a claim that
Well,
his
what
whole
the fuck
entire
is your claim, dude?
synopsis,
You're not making a claim. You're talking in
his
circles.
whole claim, okay,
His
hold
whole claim. Does anybody
on.
know what the fuck this dude talking about?
Hey, Professor
Yes,
Alon, have you ever met
if you're
Johnny
talking
Cochran?
about, okay, hold on.
What? Does anybody know what he talking about? I don't know what the hell this
Nah,
dude talking
I'm
about.
back on
The
topic though. If
closest,
you
the
want to.
closest
I
one to
don't
do
know.
that, what I think he's talking about. Hey, go ahead, Cash, because I think he was talking about the whole Johnny Cochran shit when Johnny Cochran was trying to do that
Yeah,
shit
he
before he
don't even.
died.
That's what I thought he was talking about, Johnny
You know what I'm saying? I
Cochran.
thought he was going that route, but then the nigga just got me all lost and shit, and I'm all like, nigga, what the fuck you talking about?
Right. That's what I think he's talking about. I think he's talking about Johnny Cochran, but he don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He talking about John Henry Clark? Yeah, it's John, man, but it's Johnny Cochran, not John Henry Clark. Now, Johnny Cochran was talking about a reparations claim, which allegedly, according to some barrister, English attorney friends of mine, got him killed. But that's not this space. We're talking about a
Hey,
Renaissance.
cuz, put the weed down, my nigga.
Yeah, yeah.
Come
Hey,
back.
hey man. Hey,
Hold
hey.
on, hold
Cuz.
on. Nobody talking about me. What I'm saying is that when you speaking about injustice, period, it goes back to the Constitution, or there is no injustice.
Bro, I'm gonna ask you to sober up and come back. See you later. Hey, look,
Hey,
look.
well, somebody else.
I thought me and Wani made it clear. Don't come on our stage high, man. That wastes everybody's time. Um,
That's one of the codes.
yeah, he breaking code. Come up here high as a motherfucker. Talking about it. Just
Was he
smoke some
high
shit.
or well, I don't know. I can't tell
That
when.
nigga was lit.
Damn.
Every John should have a class action lawsuit against the American government. Johnny Cochran, John Henry Clarkman,
Every John, all the Johns. Hey,
Clarkman.
hey, man, do you think I can sue the United States government because my mama named me John? Just crazy shit, man. Robert Blue.
Hey, Professor
What's up, bro?
uh, um, Oscar Micheaux, one of the first Black American filmmakers, right? He's a part of the Harlem Renaissance. He was born in 1884.
Facts.
Listen to this right here. It says he produced most of his films on a shoestring budget, often using his own money. That actually reminds me of somebody in modern day. My dad in Chicago had the documentaries called Hidden Colors, which spoke about Black American history that hadn't been exposed due to mainstream whitewashing. Somebody did that on their own shoestring budget, in my understanding.
And I love it, Cash. Thank you for your scholarship. But this is something I know a lot about. I did extensive studying 2 years ago of the Harlem Renaissance, and I discovered a lot. And what Cash said is true. And what I discovered is the Harlem Renaissance organically started to come together with people like Oscar Micheaux creating film. With, if y'all want to hear some deep shit, with Zora Neale Hurston, who died in poverty. You know what I'm saying? Zora Neale had come together, having spiritual, um, like she came together spiritually aligning people. Alan Locke was sent there to co-opt it, so that insulted me. He was sent there to take credit for. Hold on one second, because you asked Professor. Oh yeah, it was a dude. Wani, it was the dude whose picture I sent you. That's who I was talking about. So you can send him that picture.
Oh, he's the main
Yeah, he was
one.
the one.
Oh.
That's who I was defending him against. Like,
Oh,
because
okay.
he waited on Mikhail to go before he got all tough and started hitting him. I was like, man, hold on. Mikhail was, what the fuck you talking about? You talking crazy, dude.
His name is God is something. I forget.
Yeah. Anyway, who was next? Okay, I think Percy Earl was next, and then Robbie Blue. If I'm wrong, y'all let me know. Percy Earl. Come on, Percy Earl. Percero, can you hear me, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Professor Allen? How you been going on,
Man,
dog?
I'm hanging in there, man. Actually, I'm really blessed. My life is really, I'm blessed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hope the family, everybody doing good. But what I wanted to chime in on is how do these foreign niggas be coming here and trying to like guide and educate us on who the fuck we? What's
Facts.
going on with these niggas, man? Like that's like us Black Americans going into a French space of or a French African, whatever they call this stuff over there, and be like, no, this is your history.
Francophones.
This is your history, nigga. This is your history. Hell
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
But
and then it comes off like as a scholar, what I'm hearing is, look, nigga, this is what white man told me. This is what the white man told me. Listen, nigga, this is what Alan Locke, nigga, not knowing that Alan Locke ass was sent from Harvard. It was a pack of I can't say that word. It was a pack of ops. Like a whole pack of ops. It was Alan Locke, W. Du Bois, and I forget the other dude's name is escaping me. But they all were all sent to co-opt all black movements during the same time. And they came out, Alan Locke ass dropped right around the same time as Birth of a Nation. It was like a fucking COINTELPRO. And this dude talking about Alan Locke is the best. He's from the Harlem Renaissance. Not knowing what the fuck he talking about. But go ahead, Percy Earl.
And just to hit on that, my grandfather, old West Tennessee country Black American man who grew up out there in Fayette County, he's when I had to do a school report when I was younger about W.E. Du Bois, he instantly said, "Oh no, you ain't doing that one. We not fucking with that coon nigga right there." And I'm like, "What you talking about? Ain't he a hero?" But my granddaddy said the same shit you just told me. He said, "Nah, that dude is basically a coon." And my granddaddy told me this when I was like 8, 9 years old. So everything y'all saying is factual. The old people knew that too.
Yeah, I was raised by the old people, man, and I was raised at W. Du Bois. I was raised in that whole talented tenth bullshit. I started to study W. Du Bois. He led us into so many burning houses. W. Du Bois first time out, talented tenth, be led by an Al Sharpton. Basically, is what that means. Then W. Du Bois said, "No, be a communist." How that work? And then when the
Oh, brother.
oh hell yeah! And when the white man, when W. Du Bois tried to make it right, and the white man started chasing his ass and threatening his life, W. Du Bois moved back to fucking Ghana. I don't want to hear
Yep.
shit. I don't want to hear shit about his ass.
Well,
And
he started off one way and then he, made the old pivot on us.
right, right. He got his hand in the cookie jar and tried to turn it back.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing too, that guy who's just up here high and drunk as hell. I don't know what the hell he got going on, y'all. But he got a Brazil flag on his page, so there you
Oh
Oh,
go.
yeah, that's what I was. That's why I needed to keep my eye on him.
Yep, he throwing up blood, trying to
He's
be a gang
probably got
member,
a
the whole
Brazilian
nine.
girlfriend.
Hey, but I'll land my plane, everybody. Y'all have a good night,
I
and
Me
be
appreciate it,
safe.
first.
too.
He said he throwing.
Percy Earl, wasn't I supposed to go on a date with you?
Oh shit, we can still do that. Hell,
Oh,
when this
Percy.
shit,
Hey,
shit, you let me know.
no
I gotta
cap,
check my schedule.
no cap. My auntie back in Alabama, my auntie before she died, she had a boyfriend that used to run Mulga, Alabama. His name was William Earl, and everybody, be, oh shit, here come William Earl, y'all.
Hey, okay, so okay, before I go, I have a little cousin. He's 15. His name is Willie Earl Floyd. And he get roasted at school all the time. Why you got that old ass name, man?
I went to school with some Ernie Earl and cousins, Earls.
Right, got all first names for his whole name.
Oh shit. I think it's on Robbie Blue. Go ahead, Robbie.
Good evening, Professor. Shout out to you, to Nikki, to Wani, to Brother Macau. As I'm listening to you speak, and it's like a spillover from the other space, I think education is very important, and I think that's going to be critical for this renaissance. And I think the reason why everybody else gets triggered from these other flags, when you've been able to kind of finesse for a while, people get withdrawals when that's cut off. You know what I'm saying? And so I look at it as when I was in school, they mainly kind of focused on FBAs. But I noticed like right after the year 2000, they did start Africanizing everything and Kwanzaa. And in my ignorance, you really didn't think anything different. So it kind of took the scope and the focus off us. But basically, all that shows me is you got so many people, including the white supremacists, that look for FBA cosign. So we're going to stop being a cosigner. We're going to stop being the primary. People are going to have to get their credibility up. They're going to have to make it on their own strength, is all it is. It doesn't mean that there's not a place for people to be represented, but we got to stop being the cosigner, because that's really what it boils down to. If they get us to cosign it, it legitimizes it. And then people forget that you even helped them. And when it comes to the white supremacists, they love to use our suffering instead of our achievements as like a chaser for liquor. So they can push all that LGBTQ stuff, all their other set asides. They want us to make it digestible. So we got to be mindful of our power.
Love it, Robbie. I love the fact that Robbie uses powerful metaphors. They need us to co-sign, and but what I really love that Robbie said is they going through withdrawal. We have turned our back. We have delineated in our renaissance, and these folk are like, no, no, nigga, come back, nigga, please. They're like a junkie, and I love it. Before we move forward, I want to let you know that in the Jumbotron, you'll find Nikki the God's Cash App. Show her love. You'll also find Wani Spot's Cash Up app. Show her love. In addition, in a moment, I'm gonna put my Cash App up there. I have new copies of my book. If y'all want a copy of my book, where I go in deep on the system of white supremacy and give y'all receipts, go ahead and put $25 on Our Story Publications, my Cash App, and put your full address and zip code, and I will send your a copy out this Saturday. So if you want a copy, go ahead and do that. If you have any special instructions, make sure you put your special instructions in the Cash App as well. All right, we're gonna move on to let's see, Brother McHale. Go ahead, Brother McHale.
Thank you, dear brother, and thank you for allowing me back your beautiful stage.
Yes, sir. And
Uh,
you're always welcome.
Thank you, and I really appreciate it. Sort of heard my name, mentioned several times regarding the other space, and it's good that we have our brother Robbie on stage, because this is, you know, Robbie's my heart. That's my dude. So, brother Robbie, what was said after I left, and where was the confusion? I'm not sure.
Oh, no, there was no confusion. Basically, there was clarification. And I even think the professor made an attempt to further clarify things. But at the end of the day, everybody has their own opinions. You know what I mean? Like, the space is recorded. There was nothing derogatory pointed your way. I think Black Majority State has his view. For me, I understood exactly what you were saying is, and I say it all the time, like, we got to be careful about having magical thinking, because like the system of white supremacy, if we look at it like a system, it's maintained by people who have an understanding of how it works. So components are easily swapped in and out. So I would think that we would have to be naive to not embrace technology. And I got your point that when people are caught too much into the past or caught into like mythological thinking, they'll reject technology, or they'll say it's something that's demonic or whatever, which I think, especially here in North America, I think we're a lot more enlightened and we're forced to embrace technology than maybe some people there, but which you would have a better understanding than I would.
Yeah, Brother McHale.
Right.
It may it would be beneficial to listen to the recording. It didn't get derogatory in the gutter. It's just I feel like you may have left, and I was just trying to support. I was supporting you because I understood what you were saying, and I was making sure that I supported what you said. So what you said didn't accidentally get taken out of context.
Okay. Thank you.
You didn't leave the room in any confusion or nothing like that. Nothing like that happened. If anything, I wish you would have been around a little bit longer, because I would have loved to just hear more of your perspective. But
Right.
you said what you needed to say, and it didn't disrupt the tone. Vice versa, just made people need to not question but reevaluate maybe their their stance, which is the whole point. Iron sharpens iron.
Right. That's excellent. And I like the brother. And I just want to be clear on that. I like his spirit. And of course, he is of the lineage. So I'm never going to disrespect the brother. You know, you know me, I only disrespect others who disrespect us. Um, I
It,
just don't think.
it wasn't any intentional disrespect. It's just
No, I know that.
I may be wrong. I don't know everything. I just felt like I was hearing your comment being it may have been understood out of context. Not just clarifying because and of course it's all opinion based, but my opinion kind of aligned with yours on that issue.
Absolutely.
Put it this way, how I felt like it was an open discussion and it was a little bit of back and forth between you and Black Majority, but like at no point did I ever get offended about anything. You know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, I'm like, I understand where you're coming from and I understand where he's coming from. And truth be told, at the end of the day, like how me and Professor said, I said, why would you follow gods that have been defeated? Like in warfare, that's the whole point of why they had, the conquistadors had the native people, break up images of their gods to subjugate them to say, hey, where are your gods now? So at the end of the day, through process of elimination, it's like people are allowed to believe in whatever they want to believe, but it's like, why would you believe in something of an empire of some people that, what I'm saying, they don't even exist anymore? They got conquered. In other words, their belief system didn't help them evolve enough, like you say, to incorporate not only technology but military strategy, right? In other words, to protect the foundation of their society.
Right. And thank you there, brother. And look, anytime the brother wants to have a conversation with me in a space, I'm happy to engage him. But I come from a different world with different experiences than he does. And I know unquestionably there's nothing magical, nothing astounding, nothing far-seeing with the people that he speak of. And with regard to nation building, he can have that conversation with me. But I did once hear him say, and this is the first time I actually says something on his stage. He said, our people have no power. And many of you remember that conversation.
And
Some of you who are in this room
and I
remember when he said that.
And I addressed that too, Mikhail. Then I said, I'm paraphrasing myself, but I said, Mikhail's coming from the situation from a position of power. He said, we are powerful people. And I said, it's disheartening to hear all this fear mongering, saying that the AI is going to get you and systems are going to get you. How is that helping anything? And, so that's kind of how the conversation went. I think you're going to get a lot when you listen to the recording. It'd be worth your time.
Thank you. Thank you,
Excuse me,
brother.
brother. Is my hand raised? I
Wani,
don't want to speak until
Nikki.
I'm.
No, I'm glad you, Mel B. I'm glad you said that because no, it's not. I don't see it, and
Mine's also raised.
I'm wondering who else has a hand raised because
Oh my goodness.
I don't see a hand raised on here.
Hey,
Right.
I
I
Professor.
see
Hey,
Dan's
can I
hand.
can I say
Dan is
something real
one.
quick, Professor?
Yes.
Who is speaking? Mel.
no,
Young,
sir.
the man Young.
Lamil.
Yeah, I believe you,
Lamil.
brother. And y'all, thank you for saying that, Lamar. I'm not ignoring y'all. The only hand I see raised on my thing is Cash Gains. That's the only
What
hand.
And
about
Dan
Dan?
Quay.
Don't
Dan Quay.
Dan's hand is
I
up.
don't see Dan's hand.
He wanted to respond to something like an hour ago, so I guess it's
Yeah, so we're gonna let Dan respond. Dan, I didn't see your hand. I don't see any hands. But
Well, my
Okay,
hand is
so
raised also, but
all right,
I'm
so
gonna wait.
I'm going to land. This is the second time,
go ahead, Mikhail.
third time that someone interrupted me. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Brother Robbie. You can, tell the brother I respect him, and if he wants to have a conversation with me in any of your spaces, I'm open to it. I'll land.
Okay, so thank you, Mikhail. We're gonna go to let Dan Quay respond. I see your hand now, Dan. And then we're gonna go to Lamanul, I think.
Lemanuel.
Lamanuel, excuse me. Go ahead, Dan. Respond.
Yeah, no problem. It's a very short response. I just want to point out once and for all, like I want to say this once. I never come on these spaces to try and educate anybody or try to belittle anybody or anything like that. I come on here to talk about things, learn about things, learn other people's perspective, and then do my research. And then I make my own conclusions alone myself. I don't often even say what I really think about things. So I don't want to, and maybe that's not what you were trying to do, but I don't want to paint that picture that I come on spaces trying to belittle people, saying things and putting things on people, because that's not something that I do. I don't think that's a nice thing to say.
Well, Dan, well, Dan,
But
Kellen,
yeah,
Dan,
that's all.
Dan, that's called collateral damage. Now, I don't believe that you came up here pejorative, but you're speaking on Black American history and kind of educating us on Black American history when a lot of African diasporic people from, but particularly from Nigeria and West Africa, have a history of coming on our spaces and in our schools trying to tell us about ourselves. So that's called collateral damage. So Dan, it may be helpful for you to tell your brothers from the diaspora not to speak on Black American history without gaining a perspective, and furthermore, not trying to tell people about their own history, because that's becoming. We've had our fill of it. We've been polite about it for years. Like, maybe he don't know, just let him talk. But now we've had enough. So you're catching. I know you're a decent person from what I know, but you're catching strays, man. So go talk to your people. You had anything else to say, Dan?
No, that's about it. I'm listening right now. I'm doing something on my laptop.
Got it.
So
And I did detect a little passive aggressiveness, but that just might be me. Go ahead, Cash.
just finished posting too. Perfect time. Uh, um, yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear the previous conversation, but I do think technology's been demonized, uh, um, and seen as like a false dichotomy. I think anything can be weaponized to our advantage, and that's why I mentioned the camera phones being used as direct witnesses, and us releasing that and even live streaming, so that footage can't be manipulated or buried or released way too late to prevent outrage. As well, I mentioned cancel culture or the fear of being called a racist online, being something that we were using since we could circumnavigate the criminal justice system. I also wanted to shout out that this is Black History Month. Thank God. And we can tie that back all the way to the Renaissance and Negro History Week. Hmm. There's also Black History Month in the UK. I don't never hear them say thank you though. They have it in October, just so y'all know. And they don't just study British history; they also study Black American history and the Civil Rights Movement, so they can understand the difference. No tangibles, no vote. I want to shout that out as a renaissance. Martin Luther King Jr.'s message was, "We're coming to get our check," but he was talking about all the different ways that the white middle class was created, and we haven't forgotten that part of the speech. Um, After slavery ended, the Democrats are who took back our 40 acres. We're not letting that go. And we do know what radical Republicans are now. Indeed, 100 of our ancestors were Republicans right after the Civil War, as far as politics goes. And I only bring that up not to be facetious, but because if we're talking about modern day and having a renaissance, in modern day, I believe it's much more palpable or feasible that we control both sides of the argument that we currently do. And I mean, I can make the joke that Mark Carter is going to the White House for Black History Month, right? Or I can say in all honesty that Ice Cube was entertained by the Republican Party and that led to the Platinum Plan. So I just want to shout out us for fighting, for natural hair renaissance and delineation, and for gatekeeping to those who are doing it legislatively or legally, and those of us who are doing it, facetiously.
All right.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yes. Hey, Professor
Go ahead.
Nikki,
Yeah,
Wani,
I was looking for you.
Macau. Hey, salute to all y'all, man. Hey, I just want to let you guys know that I am so proud of my son, because my son also listens to you guys. He's in the 7th grade, and an incident happened at his junior high or something like that, where he has like a teacher from the diaspora. I don't know if she's Nigerian, Sudanese, or whatnot. I don't know what she is, but she kind of told my son that you are African American and you somewhere from West Africa, and from the Rubu tribe, some crap she was talking about, and my son told her, "No, ma'am, I'm Black American, and I'm not a continental uh, African, ma'am. I'm Black American, and I don't have any immigrants in my family." That's how, because I guess we listening to y'all or whatnot. He's in the seventh grade, and he wants to also join the military, and he's thinking about being a lawyer. Now, I want him, as a dad or father, I want him to play sports, baseball, football. But right now, he's playing soccer. But this mindset, I'm so proud of the way he's thinking right now. He's only in the seventh grade, and that teacher from the diaspora told the rest of the black kids in the class that all you guys, this guy don't know what he's talking about, and he doesn't know, he doesn't do his history correctly. All you guys are from West Africa, mainly Nigeria, and the rest of the black kids in the class. So no, we're not African. He's right. We Black American. We ain't got no immigrants. We our family, and he got the rest of the kids in the class, to check the teacher. So the teacher uh, told the principal, and she said that these kids are being radicalized through social media, and she don't want them, and she can't teach these kids in the class because they're too radical, and they're saying that they're. I'm telling them that they're from Africa.
Hey, tell her to resign and find a
Yeah,
school
no,
that's
no,
suitable
no.
to her.
I know, you're right. So all them kids that was in the Black American kids are in another class. They got like they got a white teacher now instead of her now. She don't want any. She's like she got some major vitriol against these in Black History Month against these students, these Black American students, and they checked her. So I'm proud of my son about that. He ain't in trouble about nothing. Though. That's all I wanted to tell you guys, that I'm proud of my son for standing on lineage business and checking that tether teacher that he had.
Well,
I dropped it.
I wrote a book. I mentioned it earlier. I wrote a book that's key to eighth grade Lexile that talks about Black history. It's a workbook for the family if you want to purchase it and have your son something to cite. And if they and if he wants to call me on speakerphone in his teacher class, I will interrupt my lecture to support your son in mid lecture and as an educator and let her know that your son is not from the African continent. A matter of fact, well, I'm not going to tell you what I would do with that situation, but I really wouldn't let it go because I think that's just ultra disrespectful. As an educator, it's not. I'm a licensed educator, and it's not my place to tell a child what his lineage is. I'm highly offended by what your son's teacher did. That's not her place. I
Now,
Yeah,
if,
so
I wouldn't let it go. But go ahead,
yeah.
one.
now I'm looking at a post, and this is yet a very determined African. He's trying to say that we got jump rope from Zambia. We don't have anything to do with Zambia. We don't know them. Okay, so just because an African gets a piece of rope and jumps over it in the dirt, of course, because they don't have it inside, that they're going to reverse engineer their ass into our culture. They're sick in the head. They're not doing it. They're just jumping on a rope because they saw us doing it. We've been winning championships for double Dutch jump rope in Philadelphia since 73, 74, 75. These people are just jumping on a rope, and this man is saying that we got it from them because they're dusty and old. And I just I just want to ask someone, why do you think that's okay to just do that? That's like ethnocide, and they just do it with ease on every little thing. And I don't understand how they justify just lying like that. When they prize the little culture that they have, if I claimed to have woven a little basket that they make, they would have a hissy fit. So I don't understand it. They must view us as such a huge culture that they can just steal what they want, and nobody's going to make any kind of, no one's going to notice if we're over here doing the same thing. And then lying because we look old and dusty, we can just claim, oh, we were always doing it. No, you're going to show me a video of it. You got to show a video. If you want to claim you did something before us, like the crip walk, show us a video of you crip walking. It's not a problem. I've seen Hispanics dance, and I've never seen them doing crip walks back in the 70s. They've never done anything before us. They've just copied off of what we were doing. So that's it. I would like someone to come up on the stage and explain why that's your hobby to do to us, and why you think it's okay, and why you don't think that every time we see that, we become more and more furious to where we won't be able to ever reverse course.
I think source code is a good person to come up. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring
Professor,
social.
you mind if I say something right quick? I've been waiting, but I don't have a hand up button on my phone.
Oh, who is us? Oh, that's,
Mel,
go ahead, Mel.
And
you
Professor, he
know,
be posting stuff up top. Be careful. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mel. But source code be posting shit up top.
If he
You
does it, I'm
people
gonna
are
block
sick.
him.
You people are sick. Mindless people.
No, you are sick.
you know,
Disgusting.
you know,
Brainwashed.
a
I'm sorry,
few,
go
Brainwashed
ahead,
by
Mind is
Mel.
what?
sick,
Go ahead,
and you
Mel.
got teachers
you
in
know,
there
a few,
trying to co-opt our sons and daughters in
a
the
few,
schoolhouse.
a few
Hold on,
space.
hold on, Mel. Mel, go
Yes, sir.
ahead. Source code couldn't control himself, so I removed him.
All right. Thank you, Professor. A few spaces ago, Tariq was saying something that really touched me profoundly. He was talking about the brother that ear hustled to learn how to fly planes. Was that the same brother that went to help the Philippines? I
I,
forget, but it was a brother. He was a janitor in the flight school. I believe he couldn't get into flight school because he was black, but he got in as a janitor and he ear hustled and he learned how to fly. I
He helped
believe
the Ethiopians.
he helped the
yeah,
Ethiopians, and that was kind of profound to me because a few years ago I ear hustled myself, and I was listening to these people talk about this a mutual fund called the Barron's Partners Fund, ran by a guy named Ron Barron in New York. He was a real big. He's a Elon Musk fanboy, and his mutual fund company invested a lot of money in Tesla, and I think they got some money in SpaceX. But on my job, I ear hustle and I put my coins in that mutual fund in my 401k account, retirement account, whatever you call it. And I accumulated enough money to whereas I am now invited to his investment conferences. So you go to the conference in New York, it's at the what is that? The Lincoln Center. They have a conference at the Lincoln Center
well,
every year.
brother, I really appreciate your heartfelt thing, but let's kind of keep it on topic.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
keep
it's
it.
going to be on topic. I was going to talk about the entertainment that he had there. He usually have people come there. He'll pay for free entertainment. Justin Timberlake, Bruno Mars, big stars, big stars. But we had lunch. At our lunch, the entertainment was Cynthia Erivo, and she was singing all FBA songs, Shaka Khan, Prince, Aretha Franklin, and these white folks, it was maybe a handful of us, whole bunch of white folks. They in there just, enjoying, dancing, having a good time to this woman that is cosplaying as us. And my wife and I, we sitting up there, we shaking our head because this space is about a renaissance, us having a renaissance and taking ownership of who we are, correct?
Yeah, well, yeah. It's a question. Are we having a renaissance? But I see where you're going. Go ahead and finish your submission. I see where you're going now.
I'm just like with the Kendrick Lamar, people upset about that. But if someone that cosplays as us and sings our songs, it's a beautiful thing. They get movie roles, they get everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yes, all
Yep.
true.
So
It's Yes, I do. It's like we create a music genre and then all the world competes to see who can interpret what we did better. Okay,
Absolutely,
so we
absolutely.
create rock and roll, and then the people in the UK, hey, look at the Rolling Stones do it. Hey, look at Elvis Presley do it. Hey, look at look until you are all doing it.
And you can kind of tell when they're doing that. It doesn't really touch you the same as when we are doing it. Like her singing Shaka Khan doesn't make me feel a certain way like Shaka Khan doing Shaka Khan or Whitney or all the songs she was singing, but they can enjoy that because they don't have the same connection that we have. The people that were dancing at the conference. They just there for the entertainment, but we feel the music. We feel that's why we felt the Kendrick Lamar. We felt that. But people that don't feel it, they will say, "Oh, that was terrible."
Right, it's not for them. They don't feel
Right.
it, and they don't have any soul anyway, so I don't expect them to feel it.
So, according to the topic, they should not be involved. Go ahead and land your plane, Mel B, and then we're gonna go to the general. He's been waiting quite a while. Uh-oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
I
just
guess
making
he's
sure my.
finished.
Okay, go ahead, the general.
Thank you very much, Professor Wani, and everybody else on the stage. Uh, yeah, we are having a renaissance and taking control of what we create, and the narrative is one of the main points and the greatest things that we could do because that has derailed us for a long time. Like I was sharing with my with the participants in my program. I do where I run a non-violence prevention program in Chicago. So, and over the years, I've been teaching them what is the delineation and who we are, and doing their own genealogy. And so, um, today we was talking about the name African Americans. Well, I was expressing that we are not Africans, and most people don't know that. You know, when that name was put out, Jesse Jackson, what's his name, Avis J. Smith.
Did he go out or did my mic go out? Oh Lord. Hey, Wanda, can you hear
Hello,
me?
can you hear me now?
Okay, all right, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. So, um, when I start, so Avis J. Smith, he filed a lawsuit against African American in 1989 when they first changed that name. Which and he did all the research on it, and 75% of us was rejecting the name, but they still pushed that ahead. And it's certain things like that we fight against, that they push out there, that gives these other people a mindset that they could weigh in on our history and everything, because those name connotations that we don't have no association to. Like, we currently trying to get a museum here, Freeman American Museum, and they talk about, well, you already got a museum. Well, that museum is named that new museum is named the Dusabo Museum. We are not French. We're not from Dusabo, but yet you got all our information and all our history in there. So we correcting that stuff down, and people don't like it. And that's how Renaissance is going on. And it's a lot more that could be said. But thank y'all very much for the space. Just came up to say that. Appreciate all y'all, and keep doing the good work.
Yeah, yeah, General. I appreciate what you just said, man. That's such a perfect example. They said you already got a museum, and the museum got some foreign name. That's co-opting. I heard our brother Tariq say that, I'm paraphrasing him, but he said about co-opting our shit and putting like an African name on it. That's essentially trying to erase us. You're trying to make us disappear, and we ain't having that shit no more. So keep fighting that fight, General. Man, I'm proud of you for fighting that fight. Um, we're gonna get some new speakers. Um, let's see, Joe Lou 77. We'll try to go to some new people and we'll come back around. I think that says Joe Lou 77.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Joe Lou. Joe Lou 77, can you hear me? I
No.
can't hear.
Do you have on a headset? They're like super,
Yeah, I can't hear. I can hear a whisper.
super low.
Okay, bro. Fix your headset and come back.
I don't think it's the dropping down.
We're gonna go to Jaquan Lee. Jaquan D, excuse me. Jaquan, yes, sir.
Yeah, hey, how's everybody tonight?
Doing well,
Peace.
man. Doing well. What's going on?
Nothing much. Um, yeah, in keeping with the topic, yes, I would say that we're undergoing a renaissance right now. But what I would say is that the renaissance actually consists of us remembering our glorious past and our glorious history, because I would contend that ever since about 1492, we had been suffering from retrograde amnesia due to the Spanish Inquisition. So now we're at a point where we're remembering, our glorious history, our glorious past, who we are, who our ancestors are, etc. And yes, our continental African brethren, they would like to be a part of, this renaissance, this remembering, if you will. But we have to understand their reason and their psychology for wanting to be a part of it.
Preach.
And yeah, I would say that the real reason they want to be a part of it is because our continental African brethren, they are suffering from a deep-seated psychological inferiority complex that was
Preach.
inculcated. Yeah, that was inculcated in them by their European colonizers. See, they have a poverty slash primitive slash backwardness complex.
Hmm.
And in order to compensate for that, see, before before we delineated, they were able to say, well, you don't know who you are, nigga, you don't have a culture, etc., etc. That would be their way of compensating. And see, they need us to be pan-Africanists. They need to feel like they can kind of sun us, or we be up under their wings, so to speak. But see, now that we've delineated and we've reaffirmed our culture and who we are, that leaves that open wound, that open sore for them to face and have to deal with. And it's painful. And that's why they're freaking out the way that they are. But this is a bit of tough love that they need, so to speak. Like when, if you have a child and that child is getting bullied every day by a bully, and he runs home every day running from that bully, you have to show that child tough love and say, hey, you go back out there and you face that bully. So we're doing exactly what we need to do, what we're supposed to do, and that's delineate and do our own thing. So they have to, because they need to face that inferiority complex that they have on the inside.
That
Yeah,
was real. That was real clear. Oh, I didn't know if I didn't want to interrupt you, but that was clear. That was clear as a whistle.
yeah. That's all I basically wanted to say. That we just basically just need to understand their psychology and why they are so desperate for us to be African, or to connect back with Africa, so to speak, or whatever. Also, if I could, real quick, I want to give a little game on how to handle it when they try to insist that we're African.
Okay.
This is what I do. I just say yes, I'm African in the sense that I'm genetically related to, or my genetic heritage goes back to Lucy, the oldest known hominid fossil that was found in Ethiopia approximately 300,000 years ago. So, yes, I'm African in that sense, because, see, what they want us to do is they want us to claim these modern day tribes that they're connected to, so they can kind of still sun us or have us up under their wing. But all we have to do is just say, yeah, I'm genetically linked to Africa through Lucy. Because see, what that does is that allows us to not totally disconnect from Africa, but at the same time, we're not giving them what they want or what they need, which is for us to be up under their wing so they can feel like they're sunning us to compensate for that inferiority complex that I told you about.
Yeah, I buy it, man.
It's absolutely right. You told
Right.
no lies. They have a lot of different angles that they have to go through to connect us to them, and they really can't stop. It's like second nature, and they're used to people rejecting them, so they really have a long history of trying to get people back under their umbrella. They have a long history of doing it when people are saying, no, I'm not that, or I'm not all or full African. And it's like they've pushed so hard, people don't even want to be, they don't even want to explore any African ancestry because of their um, pushing against us so hard and disrespecting our lineage, disrespecting the new tree and the new roots that we built here. They don't have any respect for it. And they want to just act like we're just some, Nigerians that are over here and they can look at us and see that we're not. So I don't know what their problem is, but they're not doing themselves any favors and they don't know how things work. So there's no reason to try to reason with them.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. Well, I appreciate your submission, Jaquan, and we're going to be closing this space pretty shortly. So we're going to go to cash gains, housing, Agent Zero. Let's start. Go ahead, Cash.
Yeah, thank you again for having this space.
Yes, sir.
And for really putting the name to what's really going on, that it is a renaissance happening.
Hello.
Racism is out the door. Using it as a classification is very illogical, and we're not going by that anymore. And that's a good thing because now people are actually able to go by their ethnic lineages and have pride in that. I have pride, and that's I think what the FBA title speaks to. When Wani was speaking about how people are rolling around in dirt, there was a video circulating about people on the continent, supposed to be back in the 1950s, that were doing like acrobatic gesture moves wearing grass skirts. And people were trying to say that
Yes.
this is earlier than hip hop. So that means that breakdancing was inspired by them, and
No.
our own community, as far as renaissance goes, or at least social media, was able to quickly correct this by showing video of tap dancers doing moves in full suits in big band clubs in the 1920s and 30s, not in grass skirts and not out in the dirt in the 1950s. So unless they can find footage earlier than 1897, which is one of the first ones of Black Americans, which shows us dancing, then they have a point. Each one teach one. They're mentioning this a lot in hip hop now and saying that it's an element of hip hop. A lot of dancers who are teaching quote unquote about the culture worldwide. I've been leaving comments saying that each one teach one originates from slavery in America. A little delineation and tying our lineage to that connection, because a lot of people like to mention that. The ATL series had a whole had two reparations episodes. Get Out the movie and how successful it was, I think speaks to our psyche being appreciated worldwide and wanting to be looked at. And that movie is really insular to me more than meant to speak to a wider audience. And then Samuel L. Jackson's the one who brought up delineation with that movie by questioning Daniel Kaluuya being British and having a different experience than a FBA. And he was just at the Super Bowl, so I tie it back around full circle. Kendrick brought him out, and again, we felt it because Kendrick is actually speaking to the Black American, while most hip hop artists are speaking to their audience, which is white folks, because that's where the majority of the money comes from. But this was
Okay.
actually for the Black American, the American.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Cash Games. Appreciate your submission. We're going to go
I
to
just wanted to say real quick that video was, it turns out it was in Kenya. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just a guy rolling around in the dirt. And again, we don't have anything to do with Kenya, so they just keep trying to link random Africans to us. And yeah, we do have a video from 1894 or so, and they don't.
And just to be clear, Cash Games, the Renaissance idea, that was Wani's idea. So I'm not gonna take credit. I don't take credit for something that ain't mine. That was her idea. That's on you, Wani. It was a great idea, and we are having a Renaissance. Um, let's see who was next. I think I saw Stacy for a second. She's been waiting for a while. Oh, she went back to listener. Okay, so we're gonna quickly go through housing.
Yes, Professor, I'm here. I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
touch on the two questions you had up there at the top.
Okay.
Yes, we are. We have a renaissance without question. And then guess what? It's on supercharge
Hello.
at the end of the day. And the bottom question is I get very offensive when you have people that's not Black American come into the space, right? And talk about our history and trying to teach us what they think they know about our history. I'm not feeling that at all. And then when they get checked, you hear the little bitterness, the little slick talk coming out of their mouth. It's real subtle, but you could detect it. I mean,
Right.
you could
Yep.
take, you could. I mean, let me slow down. You could detect it without a problem.
Hmm.
It's like they come here and they watch us. All groups of we being watched by all groups in the world. We just being watched, and they feel it's okay to speak on how we operate. And we know that they own us. We know that we are a group of people that can't be touched when we move as a unit, even individually. And I land my plane there.
I appreciate it, housing, and I feel the same way. And this isn't a shot going towards you, Dan Quay. Like I said earlier, you got some shrapnel, you caught some strays, and I really want Dan to go tell other members of the diaspora of West Africa. Yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and go to Mikhail. Go ahead, Mikhail.
Thank you, dear brother. Thank you, Sister
Yes,
One.
sir.
Brother Dan, how are you?
I'm good, brother. How about
Excellent,
you?
excellent. Yeah, I'm living a dream and winning. I see you on stage frequently. I credit that to you being well behaved. I think your fellow tethers can learn uh, a great lesson from you. So I wanted to congratulate you on that. Question: this paradigm shift, or what I call this great foundational Black American reset, how do you process that?
Me personally,
Mm,
um, to be honest, by observation, when I look at the world right now, I think everybody is becoming ethnically conscious. People are associating themselves more with their culture than with their nations, so to speak. So it's not necessarily tribalism, but people just want to take care of their people first. And I'm seeing this kind of worldwide,
got it.
personally, because I'm
Got
in Europe. I'm seeing that in Europe, to a certain extent. I'm seeing that, in Africa as well. I'm seeing
okay.
efforts being made in that direction as well. So yeah,
Excellent. So we're influencing the continent, and that's a good thing. Um,
possibly.
yeah, I'm here. I know we are. Um, so what it means, okay, to me, um, we being a people of the future, when we were self-interested. We were more aerodynamic. We were less distracted and engaged in other people's issues locally as well as globally. We were able to be futuristic or forward thinking as opposed to dwelling on the past, the ancient past that occurred here on your continent, and develop agendas, initiatives, institutions, stakeholders that were beneficial to our next paradigm shift. And in order for us to shift successfully, we have to let go of people who are not ready for the shift. And that includes albinoids as well. I mean, as you witnessed from the Kendrick Lamar performance, they're not ready. They are not an enlightened people. So when we say a paradigm shift or a great FBA reset, I don't use Renaissance because I'm a futurist. I don't go back, we go forward. And going back to Africa is not beneficial. Africa has to go forward to us being a people of the future. So I just wanted to give you that, and maybe you communicate that to your brothers and your sisters where we are. Okay? Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, brother professor and sister Wani, for the opportunity to speak. And love you, great black incredible family.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, Mikhail.
Can we see what Arno's speaking about real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
This could be quick
Uh-oh. Come on, Arno.
because we already know.
Hey, how are you all?
Fair to Midland. How about yourself?
Fine. I was just going to say that I definitely believe that Africans should be involved in the renaissance that FBAs are having. Um, I have roots in Equatorial Guinea. I'm a second generation American, and I believe that we could all come together and try to make America a better place, especially building up more black businesses as well as black neighborhoods.
Hold on one second, brother. So I'm trying to conceptualize this. So why do you think you should be in our business?
Well, because I'm a second generation American, I was born here. I
Whoa, whoa,
believe
whoa,
that.
whoa, whoa. Let me ask you a quick question. Are there any Cambodians helping Chinese people run Chinatown?
I'm
It might be
pretty sure
very
there are,
good.
They're
possibly.
not. No, they're not.
Um,
Trust that.
okay, okay.
Trust that.
Well, how
How
can
are
you be so
you?
sure about that?
I'm 100% sure.
How?
I'm 100% sure.
You don't know
Um,
100%.
yeah, 100%.
I'm 100% sure. I used to
They
work
don't do
with them.
that.
I'm 100% sure.
They don't do that.
Well, I have family in New York. I'm
There's
in Chinatown
no
right now. Well, I could be. I could be.
these people are very specific and they make fine distinctions. And why do you begrudge us doing what everyone else is doing? You're not us.
Well, I'm
Cambodian
black. I'm
people
in
are
America.
no, that's not a race. We're not the same race, as I said before. So do you think Pakistani people are over there running Indian businesses? They look alike. They come from the same area in the world.
Yes, I'm sure there are plenty of them. And also, there are
No,
plenty
they're
of
not. They
Cambodian
have
people
nuclear
in.
weapons pointed at each other. They hate each other. And when you try to get a
Facts.
visa, they check your background down to your grandparents to make sure you have no Pakistani blood before you go over to India.
Well, Wani,
Lord
the
have
truth,
mercy.
the truth of the matter is, this gentleman it really wants to leech off of our resources.
I
That's all
get
it is. It's
Wait,
so
not,
wait, wait. Professor Alon, wait a minute. How do I want to leech off you all's
because
resources
we
when I'm
don't
in
because
America
you're
myself
here.
and I'm a
Because you're
tax-paying
he-
citizen?
because you're here in the room. We don't
I'm a
understand why you're trying to associate yourself with us when other groups don't do that.
yes, sir. You have
because
nothing to
we're
do
all
with
black.
us.
We're all
No,
black.
you're
We're
not
not.
black, sir.
That's what we're trying to
I'm
tell you.
Sister
what?
Wanting,
The
can I talk to
the
this
ethnicity is,
individual?
hold on. The
Okay, yes, ma'am.
ethnicity
Yes, ma'am.
is not based on what white people think we are. Our ethnicity is based on scientific facts. And you don't
Facts.
And
belong to
scientific
our,
fact is we are all in the Negroid race
no,
category.
Uh, uh,
we're not. That's the problem. You're just
What?
too
That
ignorant
is
to
a fact,
understand.
Sister Wani.
No, it's not. No,
this
it's
is so.
not.
This is so
Please look
We're
fast.
that
not
up, Sister
one,
Wani. That is
we're
a
not,
fact.
we're not one race. You are. We're not.
This is so fascinating. The gentleman, like what we're trying to say is we are us, and he's like, no, 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 you're me. I don't know if that's insecurity. What it? Wani, can you
No,
explain
it's
that
the
to me?
same thing as when a Dominican Republic person comes up here and they say that they're black after saying me no black, but there's no scenario in the conversation where I would be Dominican. I cannot
Facts.
be Dominican no matter what we're talking about. But they can decide that, okay, I'll go along with it. I'll be black. Or they can run around saying they're black and Dominican and Latino and Hispanic and everything else. They can just gobble up another identity. While this man is not going to align himself with us, you have to be invited. If we want to invite you to something,
Preach.
you are not going to tell us what we're going to do, and we're not all black. We're not all Americans. You already said what your background was. You said you were an African. You said Equatorial Guinea. So
And that's okay.
you
Don't
already
no
gave it.
disrespect to Guinea.
And you have a
Sister
tribe.
Wani, I do have to say
You
something.
have a tribe. That's a third identity. But for some reason, you need to be hanging out with us, telling us what our identity is, and also saying you're that identity. You people are lost in the head. And
Wow.
also go to,
Wait a minute.
no, you go to Ireland, you tell them you've been
Mm.
trotting your dumbasses around the UK talking about I'm a black Brit, I'm British, and all that. You look foolish. You're not British, you're not French, you're none of those things.
Something powerful just happened, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody wake up and write it down. Wani said you have to be invited. I'm writing that shit down. We just took the power back over our lineage. Sir, Guinea is, I'm sure, a beautiful place, but as far as foundational Black Americans are concerned, you're not invited.
Now, you can go to New York where they have low self-esteem, and you can talk to one of those people that call themselves regular black. New Yorkers do not get to rename my group regular black so they can submit to anybody. Hispanics, Caribbeans, they are on their knees to these people, submitting. What is that about?
Well, since you all bring up the Dominicans, I do want to cover a point about them.
Ugh.
Sister Wani, respectfully, you look like a Dominican. You look like you could
Doesn't
definitely fit
go
right
by
in with them.
looks,
And that's okay.
dummy. Why are
That's
you an
okay.
idiot? Why are you a dumb idiot? It doesn't go by look. Some black Americans
I
look
just wanted to cover
white.
another point. I
No,
know, but if you
some
went over,
black Americans look white and you're too stupid to know it. So
I'm aware of that,
don't
Sister
try the
Wani.
looks joke. We come in every shade, dumbass.
I wasn't
Don't
trying to
tell
be
me I
rude,
look,
Sister Wani.
well, it is rude. Don't misrace me.
I
I'm not a fucking
apologize.
Dominican,
I
dumbass.
apologize. I
Yeah,
know you're
you
not a
better
Dominican.
apologize.
I
I
know.
have no
Oh,
Spanish
wow. Can
genetics
I
at
speak?
all. I have nothing Spanish, nothing Caribbean involved. Just good old Black American genetics. That's
Yeah,
it.
and he not dumb, Wani. I'm sick of this finesse. Look at my picture. Look at Wani's picture. Look at Love I Am's picture. Look at Agent's picture. Look at Chicago's Oz picture. Look at Twizzler's picture. None of us look like we're from Africa. How do I know this? Because every time I go to West Africa, everybody's asking me where I'm from because I'm not from Africa. So stop trying to pretend like we're the same. We're not, and that's okay. Have to look at the thumbs down. He wants. I think in his mind he takes it as an insult that he can't be me. Bro, you're not me. And that's okay. You're you, and that's beautiful. Be you. Handle your business. I'm sure there's a bunch of money, a bunch of resources, a bunch of beautiful women in Guinea. Handle them and stay the fuck out of my business.
Well, Okay, I can respect that. Yes, there are beautiful women in Guinea, in EG, but also there are beautiful women in the United States. But I just want to say, well, they're going to ask you what country you're from because not all countries, not everyone looks exactly the same in the countries over there. So of course they're going to ask that. Now, also, Sister Wani, I wasn't saying that to be rude to you. I was just, just saying you look like a Dominican.
Too
We're all
late. You
black.
were already rude. And they're
Well,
not black. They're
I didn't mean
Hispanic.
to
They're
offend
not
you.
even listed on the census as black. They're Hispanic. They're Latino or they're whatever the hell. I don't care. Let them worry about it.
The point I was making is if you go over to the Dominican Republic and you get a citizenship, you are now Dominican. If you go
No,
over to
you're
any country in
not.
Africa, you are
No,
now
No, you're
you are a
not.
whatever.
naturalized Dominican.
You are
It's
not
yeah,
Dominican. That's what you don't understand. You can't move and change your ethnicity.
facts.
I think
Well,
this
damn
nigga
it, I
is
can
really
move and
fucking
change mine to
retarded. Like
FBA.
Arno, bro.
I,
Can you
We're
How
all
acknowledge?
he
black.
you
Can
a
he
retarded?
acknowledge?
I can't move to Nigeria and become Yoruba. I'm American that lives in Nigeria. So I don't know where your malfunction is.
Damn it, I can claim FBA since we're all black then.
No,
See?
Can
you're
you
not
go
welcome, sir.
away?
But also,
Can you stop, please?
No,
Like,
you can't even
there's
claim
people who
FBA, so
are
you need to
there are
stop.
people who are
Bro,
waiting to
get out of here with
speak.
that bullshit, bro.
There are people who are waiting to speak. You're
Here's
literally just a Guinean with
here's
a
this
opinion.
here's the funny thing about what he's saying. He can't. He's forever for the rest of his life. Hundreds of years or more. He will always be an immigrant. It'll
Right. You ain't
always
got no
be on his
bitches? Where your bitches at,
paperwork.
bro? Why you over here starting shit? Get up out of here.
He'll always have that on his paperwork. It'll always be on his parents' paperwork. He'll never have a long lineage here. Everybody will always know his background. And if things go our way in the court system, when they start talking about that 14th Amendment, it'll really be highlighted. And they may not even get the same type of citizenship that they have now.
Oh no, they cleaning all that shit up.
Hey, family, I say let him speak. We got a lot to learn from this guy.
Okay, who's next?
I was
All right,
next.
all right, let's go ahead and wind things down. Let's get a couple more speakers. Wani, who was next?
I think I was next.
Well, we
Go,
haven't, okay, but we haven't heard from Love I Am at all.
oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna well, the tradition on our stage, just in case we weren't clear with it, is we go to new speakers. Um, we're gonna go to Love I Am because he hadn't spoke already. Go ahead, Love I Am.
Hey y'all, I'm sorry that I was coming off mic. I actually try to hold myself to some
No
You
problem.
got triggered. I get it. I was too.
civility, but I actually, it's just that we are all making an executive decision as adults to come into this space, and then there's people who literally, you know, go in a space with your own people. And I don't know who this guy was that said that we have a lot to learn. That's your issue. That's all of this, all everything that they're saying is a devaluation. They're just devaluing us. They literally because they need us to be generic Africans. I often point out that the term Africa is to a misnomer. It was not applied to the entire continent until the 17th century, and it's now being erroneously applied to the dark races that are the original inhabitants of the world. So, with that being said, I actually find it interesting that we always have to circumvent back to this African conversation when literally the conversation should be about the fact that dark races are the original humans, okay? And so now you have these white people and all these other groups that are trying to retroactively insert themselves into history that they were not a part of. And they've literally, because their refusal to reconcile their biological origin, have thrown off everything. The reason why this is important is because Black Americans, we are thought leaders. So we lead in thought. We don't have that codependent, dependent on a white man to give us our mental framework. These African people, they do. And I think that that's a variable difference in who we are. This guy literally said that he's from somewhere else. So that means that your opinion is relegated to that experience. You are a second gen wherever he's from, and your opinion is relegated to that space. And just because America, this I mean the United States has facilitated a space for people to feel like their opinion on our experience matters just as much as us experiencing that, we're not accepting that. So even when you all are saying like they have to be invited, we really need to just close the door entirely, because no one else is trying to, no one else is, Black Americans are not chiming. It's something that's not natural. Like that's why they're getting the pushback. We don't naturally do that to other people where we're just chiming in on everyone's experiences, trying to act like we're experts in other people's experience. And the only way that they're able to do that is if they reduce us down to like some despondent group. They think that we need people from third world, no accomplishment, zero accomplishment, coming here, and we need to join forces with them. No, you're literally, no, you got us fucked up. I was trying not to cuss, but yeah, it's all very weird. It doesn't make sense. And I think that we need to start recognizing where, because this reality is governed by thought form. So as we continue to promote our consciousness to the forefront, we also need to vehemently reject that consciousness that they're trying to like superimpose on us, because that's what they're doing. It's not that they're trying to come and teach us our history. No, they're trying to superimpose their consciousness towards the history that they have been taught secondhand. We hear these stories and we know our people. So we know that Marcus Garvey didn't make sense. Marcus Garvey didn't make sense for the time. We very well understand why there was a Garvey Must Go campaign, because it's the same. We're the same people. We're those people. We don't need people coming over here thinking for us. We're here. Like it's our consciousness that has been a threat to America, not theirs. They're getting invited over here by our government. So they just need to fall all the way back. And then Dan Quay, actually, I don't have nothing to say to you. I just am saying, like, I don't know. It's like I just can't am not able to rationalize them coming over. Like it's like I don't even know why we're talking to them. That's what I just do not understand at this point. I don't even understand how this is of interest. Like I just don't get it. It's just like you don't fill up your rooms with enough of your own people and facilitate discussion there. You literally just kind of react to what Black Americans do. And that always makes you behind us, to be honest. You weren't addressing our delineation until we started delineating. I mean, you weren't addressing, like it's like they address stuff after us and then try to push us out the way on stuff that we brought up. Like you weren't even focused on none of this stuff that we're talking about until we started focusing on it. It's weird. I don't know why you're over here, to be honest. I just don't get it. It's like, why not go home? Like I don't get it. I'm done.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I love I am, and it's a good point. It really this whole conversation is, if you sit down and take the emotion out of it, if we all take the emotion out of it, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, look, we are who we are. No, no, nigga, I'm you, and you are me, nigga. No, man, I'm me, motherfucker. Like it's crazy. This shit is madness.
No, it's they're us, but we're not them. I can't be from his tribe. They'd look at me like I was out of my mind if I went away. Now I'm you and put on the same stuff. No, they would reject me and other me immediately. I
I
wouldn't even
wish
get
I
to the
would say I was,
outfit. Wouldn't even get to the outfit.
man. If I
In
was in,
fact, my cousin put on an African outfit and the guy said, I don't want to sell it to you. It doesn't look right. It didn't look right, but that's not the point. He didn't even want to sell things because he was being mean.
right, right. You can't claim shit. I can't go to Ghana and say I'm God. Somebody had me killed. Um, Rob, I think Agent Zero. I'm sorry, Agent.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
What's up, brother?
Not much, brother. How you doing, Professor? How you doing, Sister Wani? What's up, Capone? What's up, Rob? Um, to address the topic of the room, are we having a renaissance? Yes, we are. Should anybody else be involved? Hell to the no.
Facts.
Um, I believe sometimes you have to watch with your eye, I'm sorry, you have to listen with your eyes. And people like him come into our spaces and post stuff. And you don't even have to talk to them or anything. You can look with your eyes, or listen with your eyes rather, to see what they're posting, what they're doing, what they're saying. I want to break it down simple to him. You are not my brother. You are not from here. I don't care how many generations of your family has been here. You are not one of us. What he's worried about the wrong damn thing. What he needs to do is create a room and fill it with people from Equatorial Guinea that's in America or wherever else. And they need to be trying to figure out what are they going to do, because the Brazilians is coming to kick their ass right now. The Brazilians are plotting to kick their ass for their oil. That's what he needs to focus on. So I'm just going to break it down simple to him. Also, I'm sorry, he got me so heated, but just basically, he's not one of us. You are not one of us at all. Period. Point blank. And as far as us having a renaissance, yes, we are. We need to keep everybody out of it, and I think it starts with the children. Moving forward, I think it starts with the children. We're adults and we know, but we have to ingrain that into them. And I'll land my plane.
Appreciate it, Agent. We're gonna move right along to.
I'm sorry, y'all. I got one more thing to say.
Go ahead.
The whole term African American. I seen a piece on MSNBC, if I'm not mistaken. It's been years ago, and they were saying that the origin of African American, of the term African American, dates back to 1835. I found, I went and Googled it. While when whoever had brought it up, and it says that the term African American is believed to date back to the early origins of the United States. It was first recorded use appeared in the 18th century sermon called the Sermon of the Capture of Lord Cornwallis. The author identified himself. Now, they ain't even saying who the author was, so they've been trying to put that on us. But the author identified himself as African American. The Oxford English Dictionary traces the first documented use of the term to 1835, and it likely appeared in the abolitionist newspaper. We are not African Americans. We are foundational Black Americans, and that is that. Nobody can join us. We don't want you to. Stay out of our lineage. And I'll land my plane.
All right. Moving. Thank you, Agent. Moving right along. We're gonna go to who hadn't talked? Okay, Rob the Whip.
Hey, what's up, man? I had two things I wanted to ask you. First, bro, who do you know anything about Thomas Howell Sowell? I mean, other than him being a clown, I was just wondering, being that you're a professor,
I
do
know
you
a
have
whole
any
bunch of
information on this cat?
about them, and I want to just quickly let people know that we're closing the space. I see some people came up requesting. We're taking the last couple of people on the panel, and then we're going to close the space. So just FYI, letting y'all know, if you were up here and had your hand up, you will be we will let y'all speak. But back to your question, brother. Thomas Sowell is a I'm trying to think of a professional way to say. Thomas Sowell saw an opportunities, PhD economics. He saw an opportunity to finesse the dominant society by telling them what they want to hear. So and get a bag out of them. So Thomas Sowell is kind of misunderstood. Is what he's doing ethical? I don't think so. I would never compromise my scholarship for $1. In a lot of ways, I put my career on the line sometimes saying what I believe, but my belief system is one day we all got to die. And when I answer to a creator, I can stick my chest out and be proud of what I've done. So that's my philosophy. But there are scholars out here who believe that you do what you got to do to get the bag. I think he's one of those. He has excellent credentials, academic, and he's a really smart guy. But he caters to the dominant society to get the bag. And if that was his objective, he's been very successful. So some of his scholarship is skewed. Is that what you were asking? It's skewed towards white people is what it is.
Second question, then I'm going. Did you get a chance to read over any of that source information that I gave you in Do you see anything going forward
I'm
with it?
still spoon feeding it. It's real interesting. I'm grateful for it because I would have never thought that way. I shared it with one of my colleagues, and she's looking it over as well. So I'm gonna have you an update pretty soon.
Okay. And last, that guy that came in here, a quick way to get rid of all that stuff. People claim that they're us. Tell them it's a bloodline thing. It's not in your blood. You can't go forward with it. But I had to explain something like that to one of my students today. He's from France, an exchange student, and he's a foreign exchange student, and he's France. He's from France, and good kid. I explained to him all black people ain't the same, man. Just like all white people ain't. I mean, you're French. You're actually Spanish. I said you're not French, but you got the same color skin. But I mean, you're not German. You're not. You know what I'm saying? So you don't look at black people and say we all the same. It's a whole different tribe if you want to say that. But after that, man, y'all have a good
Yes,
night. I'm
sir.
going.
Rob the Whip.
Peace.
Actually, we need. I'm gonna have to address that in another space. It's crazy that slavery. We've been so damaged by that transatlantic slave trade that we're making excuses for that. We're the victims in that situation. What do I mean by that? I mean, God damn it, I'm not you. I'm me. Why won't if you look at it from another perspective, get outside yourself and look at it objectively. People are telling us that we can't be us. So we're the victims. Fuck they feelings.
Absolutely.
Um, Thank you,
Absolutely.
Rob. Capone, quickly, if you don't mind laying your plane,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Just wanted to, honor my scholars again. You, Sister Wani, Brother Macau, all my brothers and sisters in here fighting for the movement. Keeping the lineage strong. We got to close the door on these motherfuckers because they don't understand us anyways. So let's take back what's ours. And peace, love, reparations, delineation, and deportations. And I'm out.
Yeah, much love, brother. Much love. FBA world, what's on your mind?
Hey, Professor Wani. First off, I want to say thank you for having the space on this topic. Um, Short answer, yes, foundational Black Americans are having a renaissance, or for me, it's a revival of getting back to knowing and understanding our lineage and here some here in America. And when it comes to other Black folks from the diaspora, from Africa, Caribbean, um, they shouldn't be involved in it because number one, don't they really don't have to say or part of this revival that we're going through that I would agree with you, Professor, that it really sparked off 4 years ago with the George Floyd lynch, and that's when it really sparked off. And when that happened, who was president at the time when that happened, Professor?
Donald
Wasn't it
Trump.
Donald
Yeah,
Trump? Yeah,
right.
Donald Trump. Yeah. So I so so but more to the point, so that I suspect that or historically, we're going to get more things done under Republicans because historically, that has happened. But with the tethers and with the tethers and all these other Black folks from the diaspora, they shouldn't be involved because they come in here trying to tell us who we are is not like they come in here with a colonizer mindset. They come in here, well, some with niggas, some with niggas, some we all black, you African. They try so hard to try to make us an immigrant group, which we are not, and that's stated in the 14th Amendment. So there's a legal precedent as stating stating that we're a non-immigrant group. You can't send foundational Black Americans anywhere. Anywhere you can't send them back nowhere because we're not an immigrant group. And I just simply just want to land some of that on this point that some of that I am I am glad to have Pride on what as far as Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. Everything, all the articles coming out there saying that it was worse or bad. That's completely capped because if it was so bad, you wouldn't see threads of people doing you have the spaces and YouTube channels breaking down the symbolism what that brother did during his halftime show. If it was so quote unquote boring or bad, so that's completely capped. So man, thank you. Thank you for the space. I'm a professor,
Yes, sir.
and I'll leave my plane.